Good evening. I'd like to call the November 19th, 2018 Overage Township Council meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and please remain standing for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As customary in these chambers, we stand for a moment of silence to remember those who are protecting our freedoms, both here and abroad, for our first responders, and for those who have made the ultimate sacrifice. A moment of silence, please. The prayer, Mr. Pisghetti.
Dear Lord, bless thy servants in the ministry of public affairs who serve thee in this chamber. Give them quiet minds and hearts that they may hear thy voice. Help them to know when to speak, when to be silent. Give them strength to oppose the wrong and uphold the right, and grant that they have a good conscience and soul, at peace with thee and with one another. Amen.
Amen. Please be seated.
Just to explain to them what, okay, let me just explain the grounds. Madam President, if I may.
For roll, is she going to take roll call first,
Okay.
correct? Okay, so you're going to roll call us that we're all here?
This meeting is being held in conformance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Notice has been given to the newspapers, and notice of the meeting has been posted in public places. Next open public meeting of the council will be held on Monday, December 10th, 2018 at 7:30 p.m. Mrs. Brown?
Here.
Mr. Cahill?
Here.
Dr. Greenberg?
Here.
Mr. Merwin?
Present.
Mr. Murphy?
Here.
Mr. Pisghetti?
Here.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Here.
Mrs. Walker?
Here.
President Selhor?
Here.
9 present.
Madam President, may I?
Yes, please, Mr. Lozier.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, in light of the turnout tonight in the meeting, with regard to, if you're here to speak with regard to the parking ordinance that is up tonight as a second reading item, the council is going to move that to second reading ordinance. That's going to be first before they get to the next. In addition, you'll be given the opportunity to speak. It's going to be 2 minutes per person. This is different than the normal 5-minute, because this is a separate item on the agenda where you are given the opportunity to speak. So the council is going to afford you each 2 minutes to speak. So that having been said, try to organize what it is that you wanted to say, and we're going to give everybody the opportunity to do so. That having been said, we do have Sergeant at Arms. The Sergeant at Arms is here to make sure that the session is done in a professional manner. We'd ask you not to yell and scream from your seats. You will be given the opportunity to speak. Do not be belligerent. In addition, I'd ask you to keep any of your comments you may have not personal. Don't make slanderous remarks about people or become boisterous when somebody else is speaking if they have a different opinion than you do. You'll all be given the opportunity to speak, and we'd ask that you conduct yourselves professionally so that council can hear the remarks that you have and take those into consideration before they ultimately make their vote. So I'd ask you to abide by those terms so that there's no need to invoke the Sergeant of Arms.
Okay, are we good? Okay. Now we're just going to proceed with a few of the beginning here, and then from there we'll go to the public portion. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is proclamation certificate recognizing Small Business Saturday. Mayor Henry.
Thank you, everyone. Good evening. Tonight I'm going to read a proclamation in recognition of Small Business Saturday, as opposed to Black Friday. This is Small Business Saturday. Whereas the Township of Overage celebrates our local small businesses and the contributions they make to our local economy and community. According to the United States Small Business Administration, there are currently 30.2 million small businesses in the United States. They represent 99.7% of all the businesses with employees in the United States, and were responsible for 65.9% of net new jobs created from 2000 to 2017. Small business employs over 47.5% of the employees in the private sector in the United States. 90% of consumers in the United States say Small Business Saturday has a positive impact on their community. 89% of consumers who are aware of Small Business Saturday said that it encourages them to shop small business all year long. 73% of consumers who reportedly shop small at independently owned retailers and restaurants on Small Business Saturday did so with friends and family. The most reported reason for consumers aware of the day to shop and dine at small independently owned business was to support their community. Overage Township supports our local businesses that create jobs, boost our local economy, and preserve our neighborhoods. Advocacy groups, as well as public and private organizations across the country, have endorsed the Saturday after Thanksgiving as Small Business Saturday. Now, therefore, I, Owen Henry, Mayor of Overage, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, do hereby proclaim Saturday, November 24th, as Small Business Saturday, and urge you, all residents of our community and communities across the country, to support small businesses and merchants on Small Business Saturday, and not only on Saturday, but throughout the whole year. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Council.
Next will be approval of minutes of previous meetings. Combined meeting, August 13th, 2018. Do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
Second.
Second. Okay. Moved by moved by Mrs. Walker. Second by Dr. Greenberg Belli.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes, for the
Mr.
ones
Murphy?
that wait. There's some that I have to abstain on.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's just this one, okay, that's, yes.
Mr.
Yes.
Mr. Pisghetti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohor?
Yes.
9 yes.
Executive session, August 13th, 2018. Do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
Second.
Okay. Moved by Mrs. Walker. Second by Dr. Greenberg Belli.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
I believe this is a yes and an abstention. There was 2 sections of that, was there not?
Yes.
Right.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Pisghetti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohor?
Yes.
9 yes. 1
Minute.
abstention.
Okay. Yeah. Minutes combined meeting, October 8th, 2018. Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Dr. Greenberg Belli, second by Mr. Rizzoli.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Pisghetti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohor?
Yes.
9 yes.
Executive session meeting of October 8th, 2018. Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Walker, second by Dr. Greenberg Belli.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Pisghetti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohor?
Yes.
9 yes.
Next, we will be doing public hearing and ordinances. We're going to do H1 first. There are
Bill list.
No, we're not doing bill, we're moving it around. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is H1, which is a release reduction of performance guarantee, Kennedy International Incorporated, 1800 Waterworks Road, Old Bridge, block number 6303, lot 3.15. Good evening, Mrs. Shapiro.
Evening. Thank you, Council President. This was an application in front of our zoning board under application 27-16Z for a rather large warehouse on Waterworks Road that I'm sure Council is familiar with.
Yes.
It is across from Manzo Boulevard. It has been completed substantially, with the exception of one correction to a concrete pad that fronts their loading zone. I'm actually joined today by Marty Miller, our inspector with the Limo Group, who is retained to do the inspection services for this project, who is also a professional engineer, professional planner, certified municipal engineer, and also a professional land surveyor. He found that all work was acceptable and that a reduction of 95% should be acceptable to the township. The performance guarantee that was posted for the project was $2,070,385.98. So he is recommending 95% reduction. The original bond, performance bonds was $1,863,347.38. This recommendation for a 95% reduction in that bond of $1,770,180.01. The bond would be reduced to $93,167.37. The cash surety posted originally for the project was $207,038.60. 95% reduction to that amount is $196,686.67, and the cash to be retained would be $10,351.93. There is no previous reductions that have been done on the project, and before I open it to council for any questions, the applicant's attorney is to the right, and I would like her to introduce herself.
Hi, Merrill Goncher, Sills, Cummis and Gross, representing the developer who is now seeking this reduction. We would note that, first of all, we did submit proof of publication and service, so if you could just acknowledge, we appreciate that.
Yes.
And also, it bears note that under the new bond law that was adopted and became effective in January of this year, we would probably have none or almost no bond because these were not public, these are all private improvements on the developer's site. And the only thing that we would ask is whether we need to go through this procedure again for the reduction of the last 5%, or can that be done on some kind of certification, since there's only one item that needs to be checked, and I'm not sure how much weather will impact that.
I'd have to defer to the attorney.
That's why I'm asking.
Thank you.
Well, council can decide to deviate, but I don't think we've done that before. But that's up to council whether they would allow that or not. I'd also like to hear what the engineer what her thoughts would be as well.
What the applicant's attorney is saying is correct in the fact that these concrete pads under new law would never be bonded for. And it really affects their operation internally and nothing to the public because they're basically for the loading docks. We would have no problem if you wanted to do the last 5% administratively, but again, I agree with our township attorney that it's really the council's opinion. Perhaps if we take a vote, then the vote would be to deviate or to not.
Exactly. We could take a vote and see how the council feels, okay?
Thank you.
All right. Yep. Okay, so would we like to, someone make a motion?
Move it.
Do I have a second?
I second it.
Okay. I'm sorry?
The motion is to deviate from the standard procedure, and that is to allow administratively release the last 5% of the performance guarantees, which under current law would never have had to been, at this point, wouldn't have to be done to begin with.
Right. So I have a motion by Mrs. Walker, and I have a second by Dr. Greenberg Belli.
Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
No to the deviation.
Mr. Murphy?
No.
Mr. Pisghetti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Selhor?
Yes.
Thank you so much for your consideration.
7 yes, 2 no.
Madam President, we have to vote for the
Now-
95%?
That's for that. Okay, so now, all right, you're finished with your presentation, correct, Mrs. Shapiro? Okay, so I'd like to open it up to the council for any comments on this bond reduction. Mr. Merwin?
Yes. To the, Mr. Miller, what would be the cost to repair this, or to finish this repair?
There hasn't been an estimate by the contractor for the cost of the repair.
What if it was $20,000? And we only have 10.
It's a substantial repair. They have to remove a portion of the concrete, and then they have to replace it and tie it into the existing pad. So it's not a simple operation, and the existing pad is reinforced.
Well, that's my question. If suppose they fold tomorrow and it's not done, and the reality is the cost was $30,000 to repair it. We went from usually a 70% reduction down to a 95% reduction, and maybe we're not keeping enough money.
Councilman,
That's my question.
if I may, the cash portion is 10,000, but the bonds portion is 93,000 for the total of 103,000 for something that is probably no more than 20, but from what I'm hearing is about 10.
That's why I'm asking. That was it.
Okay, anyone else on this side of the dais? Anyone on my right?
The motion to move it.
Okay. Moved by Mr. Pisghetti, second by Mr. Rizzoli.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Peschitti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohor?
Yes.
9 yes.
Now, thank you.
You're welcome. Have a nice Thanksgiving. Thank you.
Steve was going to speak.
I know. No, he's not here. Okay. All right, thank you very much. All right, next will be ordinances for second reading, and we will do ordinance number 2 first. That's number 2018-29, residential parking only on Central Avenue, West Avenue, Brookside Avenue, Riverdale Avenue, and North Street. I will ask the mayor is going to come up with the police department to do a presentation.
Council President, I would ask that I sit here so my back is not to the residents, if that'd be okay with you.
No, that's fine. It's fine.
I'd like to ask a question first, before that.
Council President.
Yes.
President, you're in charge of the meeting.
Yeah, no, yes.
Yes, being that we're going to a 2-minute time limit for each person, which I find is unusual, but I understand the situation. I want to make a motion, and it's because I have an interest in both sides of this whole thing. I would like to have some crosstalk if the people want to listen to me. We changed something already. If the people want to talk, so I don't have to write down 20 different people or 30 different people talking and then answer everything at once. If they have a question at the time, I would like to address the person at that time. I'd like to make a motion so that I could do that and not do everything at the end.
You know, Councilman Murphy, I understand your concerns, and it's your ward. The problem with that is, unfortunately, we do have quite a few people here, all of whom wish to be heard. And if we start a cross-conversation, what happens is then the 2 minutes can go into 3 and 4 and so on. You will have ample time to talk and to speak and to give your opinion. Once we get into a cross-conversation, we're no longer in the public portion, and it really, it can get out of control. I'm not trying to be disrespectful.
Yes, my problem is there's going to be a lot of questions. So I'm going to have to write down everybody's name and what their question was. I don't think it's going to take any longer.
But I have the list here of everyone, I do, and if anyone else, I'll add it to it. But I really think in order to keep things in order and let everyone get up and speak, that we're going to do it that way.
I agree with that, and that should still happen.
Yeah, but I really don't think we should have the
All right, well, I'm making a motion
okay?
that we can, that we can do that. Otherwise, I'd like to see not to do the whole 5 minutes. It's one or the other. I'm making a motion first.
No, John, 5 minutes at this point, we've already spent 10 minutes of us. Let's let the people get up and speak.
No,
all right?
I'm a councilman.
No, Of course you are. Nobody's
Chairperson.
saying no. Yes, Mr. Merwin.
If this was a normal second reading, what would the public have for discussion per person?
Now, 5 minutes is in the open public portion.
Okay.
When you're responding, and the open public portion is only on items that are not on the agenda that you're allowed to respond to. So for instance, every time on consent agenda items, the president always asks, is there anyone in the audience that wants to speak to any of these consent agendas? They then get the opportunity to speak to that. They don't get 5 minutes.
Yeah.
The general periods we have in the middle of the meeting at the end are the 5 minutes on any subject that's not covered on the second readings or consent agenda. So we're doing this because of the number of people. If you had 5 minutes for everybody in here, number one, you wouldn't get your meeting done because the meeting ends at 11 o'clock by ordinance. But the president's trying to accommodate everybody, and 2 minutes is more than sufficient time for people to speak about what they want to speak about as to this one issue. If they have other issues, they're going to be given the 5 minutes on both of those mid-agenda timeframes for public hearing or public speaking and at the end. So they got 10 minutes if they have other issues they want to talk about. But as to just this one issue is what the 2 minute applies to.
Okay. What's the answer to my question? What does the second reading normally have?
There is nothing in the ordinance that dictates. That's the president's discretion.
So if we were having a regular meeting where this LDO 1 or the Ordinance 1, somebody gets up to speak about it and they want to go into a dissertation of 10 minutes, do we allow that?
No,
Be the president's prerogative to know.
At this point, we have a large number of people here, all of whom have an opinion, and we want to hear everyone's opinion. So we're trying to do it, excuse me?
Excuse me. We have many times, since I've been here, had a large crowd, and one of them was the Thames. Everyone got 5 minutes to speak. So he is actually, the lawyer, is actually going against something we deserve. And I'd like to hear everybody speak, and I think it may take more than 2 minutes, because there's a couple of things that have to be addressed here.
All right, but we're getting ahead of ourselves.
But you're doing something you've done before.
Can we start to let the people come up and speak?
If you give them 5 minutes, yes. I make a motion, they get the same 5 minutes that every other person or group has come and done that. I don't believe this is the mayor's, the attorney's choice. This is the council.
Yeah.
Listen, this is not a mayor's meeting. This is not an attorney's meeting. This is the council's meeting.
No.
And listen, that's the motion. I make a motion.
Second the motion.
To vote on it.
All right, vote on it. If you want to do it, that's fine. Okay, then vote on it. It's 5 minutes, okay? All right. On this ordinance, yeah, okay.
Could I just ask a clarifying question?
Yes.
The council president does have some prerogative, though, does he or she not?
Absolutely, which is what I said, It's the president's prerogative, absolutely.
I mean, we've already wasted 10 minutes and people want to speak.
Well, I wanted to get the people up here to speak. It seems that it's contentious before we even start. My goal was to get as many people up here to speak. We're trying to get to hear everyone, listen to what you have to say. No one's trying to shut anybody down or do anything of that respect. And I'm not, John, I'm not trying to hold back the people.
Listen, everyone will speak. If it runs the time, it runs the time. That's what we did with the Thames. Do you forget? Let everybody speak. There's nothing really else on here. I'd like to hear everybody's opinion. And if you want to say I can't make the motion, say it, but say it in public, please.
John, there's no reason to speak to me that way. I am trying to run the meeting the best way I see fit. At this point in time, this is 20 minutes. So do we let the people come up and speak?
Listen, I put a motion on the floor.
Oh, I said we had a motion. Do you want to vote on it? Let's go.
Mrs. Brown?
No.
Mr. Cahill?
No.
Dr. Greenberg? No. Mr. Merwin? Yes. Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Pisghetti?
No.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
No.
President Sohor?
No.
Okay, we have 6 yes and 4 noes.
No. 3 noes.
No.
3 noes.
3 noes.
No.
6.
3 times. You could talk 3 times.
And also, if there's time, we can come back again. So let's begin, okay? Yes, I have a list here, and then if there's anyone who did not sign the list at this point in time, you still can come up and speak. So I'm just going to call up the people that signed up first, and then if there is anyone else in the audience that wishes to come up, you're more than welcome to come up and speak, okay? Kenny? Yeah, we're going to do, yeah. Okay, first we're going to do the mayor, and then we're going to go on to the people, okay?
Thank you,
To
Council
the public.
President.
Yep.
Residents, thank you for coming out. I promise I will not take up my 2 minutes. We're here tonight for what I believe is a public safety issue. And my job as the public safety director here in Overage, not only the mayor, it is my job to ensure the safety of our residents and our visitors who come to our towns. And we focus on what we can control. I can't control crazy. I can't control the weather. There are certain things we can't control, but we still make laws. We have laws that prevent, that we don't want people talking on their cell phones, but we know the majority of people do. We have laws that we have speed limits. We have laws to try to help people stay alive. And this is one area here where I felt there was an issue. I came to the council a few weeks ago and said we had a problem. We had a problem because I live over there, and we had a problem because people who lived on other streets have been coming to me for the last couple of years and telling me that there was a problem. They didn't feel safe, that they felt response time was going to be impeded. And up until last year, I tried to take every step that we could with our local police department, with whatever measures we have at my hands. And last year, we were still unsuccessful in maintaining order on those streets. And when I mean order, I truly believe there were times when our response time to and from this area, don't only think that a first responder has to get to this area, but they also have to get out of that area if someone needs to be transported. And this Sunday, like yesterday morning, we had a 911 call in that area, and it was 7:30 in the morning, and the first thing I thought of was, what if that was 7:30 at night on a Sunday, the night when there was parking allowed on these streets? Would that person still be able to tell me that they were in stable condition? So that's why I'm here tonight. Right now, the roads are not designed to accommodate on-street parking. And anyone who lives over there, I believe, knows that. If you wanted to park on the street, everyone has made a little parking spot on their property. No one in that area parks, I would like to say in engineering terms, the cartway. Nobody parks in the cartway. And if they do, they take a chance of losing their mirrors. They take a chance by leaving that vehicle out there. And I don't see anyone who really does, especially in the evening. And our goal is to maintain at all times in that area, because of the narrow width of the road, in some cases as small as 20 feet. We need to keep two-way traffic going at all times. Someone needs to come and someone needs to leave. It's 4 dead ends in a row. You have to maintain a way out at all times and a way in at all times. With parking allowed on these smaller streets, such as Brookside, Riverdale, Central, West, and North, that does not happen. And that's when I get concerned. And that's when you should get concerned if you live over there. There are no sidewalks anywhere in that area. No sidewalks. And yet when people park on the road, the only place for pedestrians to walk is down the middle of the road. And at nighttime, that is dangerous. Dangerous. As I said at the last meeting, everybody likes black, and they can't be seen. And they do walk down the middle of the road. And if we do have a call for service, such as a 911, when there are cars parked on these streets, our response is limited. We are very limited. And I say that because it compromises the effectiveness of our response to a 911 call. And we have some first responders. Mr. Merwin's a first responder. Mr. Roselli, you were a first responder. Debbie, your husband's a first responder. It's not fair to put those first responders in a position where they have the potential to not be able to get to the call, not be able to, or injure a pedestrian. God forbid somebody jumps out from one of the cars. And I'd say the compromise of the effectiveness is because if there was a fire and the road was only cart width, and the fire department has assured me they will get down the road whether they have to push themselves, ram themselves, they will get down the road. But the problem with that is it's only going to be one fire truck, because once he lays a hose behind them, no one else is coming. The firemen are running to that scene. And if it's a large enough structure fire, the ladder truck can't get there. The equipment that we need to keep you safe cannot get to that scene. During a winter weather event, as we had Thursday. Now, if there was parking on those streets, the snowplows, the salters, most likely would have not been able to go down those streets. And now our first responders are in trouble again. You are at risk again with icy streets. The police have done a report. I think the council has been provided with a copy. You see their recommendations. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm doing my job. This is my job as your mayor, as your public safety director, to bring up these issues. And I hope there's going to be no criticism for me doing my job. And I care about all of you and your family. And I hope you don't criticize me for caring about you. You know, I would be remiss in my duties if I did not come before the council and ask for help. So that's all I have to say about this issue. People know how to get in touch with me. You don't have to get me tonight at the meeting. But people know how to, especially people that live in that area. I do want to hear from you. But it still doesn't give me the permission to disregard your safety. Something you can't sign off on, telling me, well, don't come if I need you. We have to come. So that's all I have, council. That's why we're here. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anything else? Everybody, we're good? Okay, all right. So the first person
Is Nora
is
Schmidt?
Schmidt. Nora Schmidt. Good evening.
Thank you.
Are these all the same?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nora Schmitz. Many of you know me. I'm very involved in the town. I am a resident on Riverdale Avenue, and I would like to speak regarding this ordinance. I am the executive director of the Alumni Path Foundation. I am part of the Chamber of Commerce. I am the past treasurer. I am a trustee, member of the Madison Township Historic Society. I'm a commissioner on the Overage Township Redevelopment Agency. I own a business in town. I'm a resident. I was a resident of Lawrence Harbor. I am a resident of the other side of Overage in South Overage. I'm an accountant, and I am very upset at the way this is going. In 2011, there was a master plan that was designed by this town. Members of the master plan committee, Owen Henry, Brian Cahill, Debbie Walker, Anita Greenberg, Mary Sohor, Dave Merwin, were also part of the master plan reexamination in 2017. The original master plan in 1994, these were all designed with the area that we are discussing as part of the plan that is in the wetlands. We are part of the forest habitat. We have open water wetlands by us, and we are deemed a recreation area. That being said, those are the items that we're discussing. We do not have any additional places by us. We are zoned R30. That means almost every one of our homes have at least 100 feet in front of our homes for us to park on, for us to use. That is the purpose of that area being considered a forest habitat. It is dark because the township does not maintain the lights in that area. If you look at the lights, I know somebody had sent somebody from JCP&L down. Thank you very much for sending them down. We had JCP&L there when I stopped and talked to them, and they said more than 75% of our lights are damaged in that area. They are blocked, they are covered. If the lights were repaired, perhaps that would work. You also have down trees in the area that Overage sent to have people come down and chop the trees down, and you did not take care of those. You left all that debris there, so that's why the unsafe area is being maintained. We have had some medical emergencies in our area. We have had fires in our area. We have firemen, and we have Santa Claus. They all managed to find their way down to the street, so I do not believe that this has only to do with the actual things that Mayor Henry said. I believe that perhaps there might be something else going on.
That's it.
Thank you.
I can't read the first. Can it? Mr. Schnitz? Mr. Schmitz?
Good evening.
I'd like to thank the council for putting that flyer out in everybody's mailbox so we finally got the message, because somehow the first reading of this never got to us. So thank you for that. I'd like to thank the Old Bridge Police Department for making it to my house on Thanksgiving with the first aid squad to take care of somebody on a Thanksgiving 3 years ago at my house. I'd like to thank the Old Bridge Police Department for volunteering their time, directing traffic for the lights. I'd like to thank the South Old Bridge Fire Department for bringing Santa Claus down the street on a fire truck with 3 support vehicles and managing to make a K-turn at the end of the street because everything's a dead end. So thank you. I don't want to live in a condo development. I don't want to live in a 55 and older development. I want to live in my house. I don't want any rules. I don't want any regulations. I want to live in my single-family house. Lastly, there's about 200 homes that are going to be affected by this. My question is, where does the class action lawsuit go if this thing passes?
Thank you very much.
Joanne Martinez?
Good evening.
Hi, good evening. As you know, my name is Joanne Martinez.
Is the mic there that they can
I'm
hear
sorry.
you, please? Thank you.
My name is Joanne Martinez, and I've lived on Riverdale Avenue since November of 1993, so that's 25 years now. As Nora said, our properties are not on top of one another. My property is 100 by 300, and I believe everyone else's is about the same. We have 2 lakes at the corner and approximately 20 houses on our street, and once you pass the 7 houses on my side, there's lake and woods again, which is very wide. Like everyone has said before me, the Santa comes down with no problem and turns around. We have plenty of parking. Emergency vehicles have come down our road several times, including huge fire trucks. They come down, even during the TNA sprinkler show. And our trash collection happens 2 to 4 times a week, depending on what company you use. From September to June, our school buses make complete U-turns at the corner. If need be, residents can exit both ends of Riverdale Avenue, going out to Greystone one way and to, I believe it's 5th to Englishtown Road the other way, when the gates are open. So I don't really feel like I live on a dead end. When I do drive down other streets in Old Bridge that we are not talking about here tonight, there is a problem of passing on these other roads. So the only reason we are here tonight is because of the Christmas show lights that bring the crowds of people. I feel last year that the visitors parking on one side of Brookside, did make a difference. From what I understand, an emergency vehicle did try to go down Central Avenue, and some of the crowd did not move fast enough out of their way. Of course, that's a concern, so maybe we can put a limit on how many people are allowed on this road during the Christmas season. I'm not sure why everyone's being punished that live on the surrounding streets because of something that's happening around this time of year. It doesn't happen all year. If TNA Sprinkler decides they want to move and put up their Christmas display somewhere else or whatever, go somewhere else, then where's the, we're going to be stuck with a bogus claim, basically. That's how I feel. I don't feel there's a year-round public safety problem. I don't feel that way, and I've been there for 25 years. Also, if by chance, you do make the mistake of, I feel a mistake of passing this. I have a question, I have a couple of questions. My father passed away at my house. I called 911. There were police vehicles, ambulance, funeral people. My brothers and sisters, nieces and nephews all came, and what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to, you know, leave my house, give up my driveway, park in a, you know, give up my husband's parking spot to allow my family members to come mourn with me? Should I call the cops and tell them, well, you know what, we're going to be parking illegally? Like, what am I supposed to do during something like that when you don't even think about it?
Okay, well, thank you for your,
Okay.
very
thank you.
appreciated.
Thomas Abruzzi?
How you doing? Obviously, we all know what the problem is. The problem is my house. I put up a nice display. It's all about making people happy at the worst time of the year for some people. And most of the people that are against it, believe it or not, when their kids were young, they came to our house every day, pretty much every night. So it's not like, now that their kids are older, they don't want to do it. Okay, I don't think you should have this ordinance to have people parking wherever you want. But if we have to work out a deal, if we need to work it out to do whatever we need to do, I'll do it. I mean, you know. But the worst part about it is I don't like people that have secrets. These people have been having meetings with this and that for the past 9 months now. We could have nipped this in the butt 9 months ago. But now all of a sudden, you bring it up a month before my display starts going up here. You got to remember one thing. We raised a lot of money for a lot of charities, and there's people that say that we keep the money and everything else. It's a bunch of baloney, okay? I don't take a dime. When people donate, everybody's like, oh yeah, you got all these people that come here, everybody gives. You'd be lucky if 25% of the people give, okay? And when the donations go out, if I get $7,000 or $8,000 or let's say $7,500, I always round it off. If I got $7,500, I would give another $500 towards it. So, you know, there's so much hearsay and there's so much baloney. Like I said before, we could have nipped this in the butt 9 months ago. But, you know, all of this red tape and everything else, it's just a bunch of baloney. That's all I got to say.
Thank you.
Christine Abruzzi?
Good evening. Thank you, members of the council, for hearing all of us out this evening. And thank you to all the people who came out to support everyone, no matter what side you're supporting. I think my husband pretty much said it all. You know, this issue has been brought up because of our Christmas lights. They're saying because it's a safety issue. We have gone above and beyond to try to help this safety issue. We have gone from 7 nights to 5 nights to 4 nights to try to cut back to help for the safety. We have gone from 5 o'clock to 5:30, and this year we're going down to 6 to 10. You know, we have tried to do everything that we can to help the safety issue. Thank you to the police department for everything that they have done for us. You know, we can't thank them enough. You know, we would have liked to have had the chance to be involved in those meetings that everyone was having, so this way that we could have said our part. And like my husband said, nip this in the bud before it actually got to this point. You know, we have tons of people that come to see our Christmas lights every year, and at a terrible, terrible time of the year for some people. I could tell you stories of people who, you know, wouldn't have a Christmas without our Christmas lights. You know, I just wish that people would have trusted us and trusted to come to us and nip this in the bud before it got to this point. You know, thank you for hearing us all out this evening, and Merry Christmas.
Thank you very much.
Patricia Hominy.
Good
From
evening.
Riverdale, mine's going to be short and sweet. Basically, we're looking at 21 days out of an entire year that we're going to be affected with parking. We have family that come over for summer barbecues, for Thanksgiving, for Christmas. We're going to be affected on Riverdale. We're not affected by the lights, and I can tell you, I drive through them every night that the light is on display. I go visit them as much as I can, and I give as much as I can. We've offered to help. We've offered Tom and Chris our services voluntarily to help direct people, to help direct traffic. I don't find it that big of a deal, and I've been living there for 16 years. So thank you for hearing us out, and please remember that 21 days out of the year, and I believe we worked it out to 84 hours out of the entire year. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Alex Listma.
Hello. I'm here just for my parking. That's all I really care about. The mayor must be a politician. I hear him talk about safety, but he knows about Tom's Christmas lights. I've been there 20 years, never had an incident with anything on our street, with anything. Christmas lights here, the mayor don't mention Christmas lights. He just listen to him. Go back and watch the way you sound. I sat back there, I thought it was pathetic. All I care is about my parking. You take my parking away, I'll light my house up next year. That's all I got to say. And I'll have a GoFundMe site for anybody else that wants lights.
Thank you very much.
Ann Murphy.
Council, just one question. I don't know if there's a misunderstanding, but this resident-only parking will be allowed on the street. The residents will be allowed to park on the streets. And also, this is from dusk to dawn. During the day, during the barbecues in the summertime, everyone will have access to their houses, to their parties, till at least 9 o'clock at night. And then you can still make arrangements with the town. That's what this ordinance says, from dusk to dawn. And
No, it doesn't, Mayor, it doesn't.
All right.
Mary Ann Murphy.
She is, okay.
Hi, I'm Mary Ann Murphy. I live on
Good evening.
Riverdale. Can you hear me? Okay. I've lived there for over 26, 27 years, and I bought my home not to live in a gated community. I do not want this permit parking. You know, I really think it just sums it all up, is the permit parking is because of the events that happen on Central and the events that happen on Brookside. There's other events that happen also. So I really think that this permit parking is all due to these two things that are happening. Like one of my neighbors said, it's only 18 days out of a month. Give a little Christmas joy to people that don't have a lot of Christmas. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Cosma.
Good evening.
Hello, my name is Grace Kazmina. We know the real purpose of this is to eliminate parking for the Christmas display. I live on the corner of Central and Brookside. I see the police there. I see the parking. I'm involved. I walk my dog on Brookside. Usually at the time with the display, Christmas display is up. I see the cops parking, and I see that some cars do manage to go up Central. But when you talk about restricting, if you want to restrict during the 5 weeks, I would be thrilled with it. However, I look and say you are penalizing the people in that community for 47 weeks. Why are we being penalized? If you want to work If you want to work something out for those 5 weeks that those lights are up, okay, I can live with that, but you are not talking about that. You are talking to restricting where we don't need any restrictions. We are in a part of town where most people, if they park in front of their houses, they do. Most people don't. There is no safety problems there on Central, on Riverdale, on Brookside. You go home tonight, how many people are going to be parked on Brookside tonight? 0. I've seen 2 or 3 cars. You go on Central, a few cars. If you go on Riverdale, a few cars. I go, when I go up west to north, now north is another problem, but north is not involved with the problem of Christmas lights. That's a whole different problem. When you start telling me about safety on north, it doesn't affect that. That's not part of the problem. I think you are overreacting. I think you should look into the situation more, and if you do feel there is a safety, it's going to be on, I would say, from west to Riverdale on Brookside, and you should maybe evaluate that problem there. Central, if you don't let the people up on Central, there's no problem, and I think you're overreacting, and I feel you're penalizing the people there. I have a large family. You're now telling me I can't have my family there at night.
Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you very much.
Rachel Martinez.
Good
Good
evening.
evening.
My name is Rachel Martinez, and I have lived at 20 Riverdale Avenue for the last 25 years. I would like to start off by saying that for the last 25 years, I have never witnessed any public safety issue on any of the streets being targeted for residential parking only, and I've always felt safe. On another note, soon I will be moving into 22 Riverdale Avenue, where I will be starting a life with my soon-to-be husband and future family. With that being said, how will I be able to host my future children's birthday parties or other events, including holidays? One of the reasons that I wanted to move into a house and not an apartment or gated community is so I don't have to worry about limited parking. I would like to conclude by stating that I am all for public safety. However, I feel this demand for residential parking has nothing to do with a public safety issue, rather an issue with the Christmas lights that are displayed by a couple months out of the year. Please don't let the citizens of Overage on Riverdale, Brookside, West, and Central Avenue suffer year-round because of some holiday spirit. Please find another way to handle this. Thank you.
Eddie Gerges.
Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Edmund Gerges, and I'm a first responder. I've been living on Riverdale for a few years, and I enjoy living there because it's a tight-knit community. I bought my mother-in-law's neighbor's house. I mean, not many people do that. Because I love it that much. It's a great neighborhood. It's great people. You know, most people don't even know who I am because I'm a hermit, and I try to keep it that way. So for me to come out, it's kind of a big deal. But I want my family to visit while I host dinners and holidays and birthdays. I'm also really inconvenienced by the traffic. I work long shifts, but I don't mind it because I love seeing the joy it brings to the kids and charities. It's only a few weeks we're talking about. It's always easy to say it's a safety concern. If the concern is people are walking on the street, then we make a walkway using cones, and auxiliary police are a great help. Like, there's ways to work around this than to just throw something at us real quick and then get a whole neighborhood over here to talk to you guys. I mean, you probably never really see us much. We are a very resourceful community, and I'm sure we can find a way to make the majority happy and not waste the hardworking police officers who keep us safe by giving parking tickets. Let's figure this out, all right? Thank you.
Thank you.
John Soperkowski.
Good evening. First of all, I don't think that has anything to do with any public safety issue. I've been a resident on West Avenue for 37 years. There's never been any parking problem. There is no time frame or date stated in your letter that was drawn. It shows no accurate conclusions. My only belief is that it's stopping people from seeing a Christmas display, which is held on Central Avenue. If this is the reason, I can only say it's a sad day that some people cannot tolerate a short holiday season and a display so many people have enjoyed for many years. Until receiving this letter, I heard no mention of any such regulations throughout the year. Without any details to vote on, residents-only parking seems mighty discriminatory. Will we now have our hardworking police department relegated to becoming meter maids? Or perhaps will we need additional manpower to enforce such regulations? Say no to the letter's suggestions. Vote no. It seems like a backdoor approach to satisfy a few and deny a festive holiday season to all. I'm also surprised that Independence, Lorton were not on the letter. If that were a safety issue, parking is worse on them. Perhaps Piccadilly parking lot could have also been added to that. A no vote to this regulation is the only vote that's appropriate. Thank you for time this evening, and happy Thanksgiving and holidays to all.
Thank you very much.
Dennis Kopic.
Good evening, council members. I live on 56 West Avenue. My name's Dennis Kopic. I first got that note. Somehow I missed the first reading of this particular ordinance, so I didn't know that much about it. All I had was rumors about what it was, either about Christmas lights or trailers being parked on Emily. So when I found out that what this is really about, it seems kind of counterproductive. You want to create an ordinance that will create another problem instead of solving a problem. You want us to have resident parking permits. That creates a problem for families to come for parties during the summer, for barbecues, for just holiday. And what do we do for parking? It's silly. I've lived here 46 years. I have never seen a parking problem, other than when somebody has a party and occasionally it'll be tight between two cars parked on the street simultaneously. That's not an issue, though. It's you know, we work through it, and if it's a problem, we call the police, and they take care of it. The parking with the Christmas lights, it was handled very well last year by the Overage Police Department. So I didn't see anything, I didn't see a problem. So I hope you vote no against this ordinance. This is just silly. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
Rose Doctor.
Good evening.
Hi, my name is Rose Doctor. I came here to support the lights. In the beginning of your meeting, you had a moment of silence for our veterans. These people are doing collections for the veterans that need us now, and they're doing collections for a lot of people that need us. As a community of Overage, you're really not looking at the good that these people do and contribute to Overage. I mean, my daughter and I have been coming to the lights. We grew up. This is one thing we look forward to at Christmas time. You know, now my daughter's older. She brings her boyfriend. I bring my dog, you know, but I want to say that there's more to this than just the parking. Hopefully they can resolve the parking issues. I went last year, and your police department did a wonderful job. I'm one for safety because I'm a nurse, and your police department did a wonderful job guiding people safely down the street to look at the beautiful lights. And all I can say, if you take that away, what in Overage do we have at Christmas time? Nothing. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Chris McNulty. Chris McNulty? Oh, okay. Jerry Rosen, 25 Brookside Avenue.
everyone.
Good evening.
Jerry Repka, as you mentioned, 25 Brookside. This basically, it's, first of all, I would say no to restricting parking in the entire area. Second thing, those people are putting their own time and money and then donating the money. And you guys, instead of helping them, trying to create the problem right now. And this is, it's basically start with the permits, then it's going to create another issue, and so on, so on, so on. We live in the community with other people before me mentioned. It's open space. It's really way to work it out. You got some areas as the end of the Brookside, which probably can be used for some temporary parking. And as other people mentioned, this event is only going not even a month. So it's a Christmas. It's a good thing. It's not like bad thing. So I'm sorry to say that again, but I think this shouldn't go that far as somebody else mentioned before me. This should be approached before, not to waste everybody's time, including you guys, and work it out the deal, because they doing for a good cause. That's the end of the story, it's Christmas. Last time I checked, we're going to have Christmas this year, and I think it's coming the following year. And they're trying to observe it.
Thank you.
Macaulay? Vicky Macaulay?
Good evening.
Good evening. Hi, everybody. I just wanted to say, I really appreciate Mayor
Make
Henry's...
sure your mic's on, not to interrupt you.
Yeah, I really appreciate Mayor Henry's concern for the people, and I really do believe that he's sincere. However, I'm against resident parking because I have a large group of friends and a large family, and I don't want to ask my neighbors if they could park in their driveways. But really, that's all I have to say. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Jane Schreiber?
Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you, council members, for hearing all of us, the pros and the cons. In part, I do agree with the mayor. There is some problems in our area of the streets that were mentioned and that are mentioned in this ordinance. Those streets are not wide enough. I always have concerns. On West Avenue, there's a stretch of property that it's poorly lit. There's overgrowth coming onto the street, and I value the safety of the children that have to walk by this area, coming off the school buses, especially in the wintertime when the road is narrower because of accumulated snow that's been plowed. But I would hate to see this residential ordinance go into effect that would affect the neighborhood for the entire year. We all get concerned and we all get annoyed when our neighbors, in my street, I live at 24 West Avenue, and I have been a resident of this house for almost 50 years. And I have taken my children to see the Christmas lights in the block behind. All I have to do is look out my kitchen window, and I can see the lights and hear the music every night, and they are a delight. And I totally respect the efforts that the family has put up into the lights every year. I am certainly hopeful that there will be other ways to resolve the safety issues, the parking issues, other than this ordinance. I think we are an adult community, and we can put our heads together, and we can see some other ways. Yes, we have no sidewalks. We have, narrowed streets, and it is a concern for all of us for safety issues all year round, summer and winter. But the majority of our neighborhood is very considerate. And when we are having parties, we ask our people who are parking to be consider it and do the best they can to make the street as wide as possible.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Joseph Marazzo?
Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
I live at 57 North Street. I'm about a mile away from this Christmas show. I live towards Jonas Salk Middle School. One of the concerns I have is I don't understand necessarily why me and my immediate neighbors are actually going to be impacted by this. Like I said, we're about a mile away. If I wanted to go see the show, I would actually have to drive to it. I would never walk my son all the way, there. It's a mile. In our neighborhood, I know the mayor described some of the streets and some of the public safety concerns, and I'm not here to argue about that, but that's not the case where I'm situated. We have sidewalks on both sides. It's well lit. We never have a parking problem. If we perhaps could not get by one of those streets that are congested, we have Greystone Road that we can get out. And actually, the fire department's right down the block. So I'm not exactly sure why we're on it. And what is funny to me is that there's actually cross streets of North Street that are closer to this event, and they aren't on the proposal. So I'm not sure how well thought out this was, but I would ask you to maybe just consider these details before we put an overarching restriction and impact people that shouldn't be impacted. And I'd like to thank the council. I had emailed you all last week, and many of you responded. So I appreciate the quick feedback. It was like within an hour at 10 o'clock at night, so you were all working very hard. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ed O'Connell?
Good evening. I emailed all of you this morning. I know I heard back from about half of you. I just submit my email as my concerns. I also get frustrated because we keep being told we don't have sidewalks, which we do. So if you want to drive by tonight, you can see we have sidewalks, we have curbs. We do have short driveways. A lot of our neighbors are saying they're just going to park their cars in the street. That way visitors can use our driveways. Regarding response times, the police department saved my son's life. In 2010, he had a seizure, he couldn't breathe. They were at my house in seconds, and the ambulances were there 30 seconds later. So I know we didn't have a problem then. This is in July, after dusk, at 8, 9 o'clock at night. We're also not clear on the times and the days. Now I'm hearing that the Christmas show is only certain days of the week. So we really don't understand this whole 365, 24/7 streets that are not affected being included in this. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Elizabeth Saperkowski?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I live on West Avenue, 6 houses away from the mayor. Often have many conversations with him, and he sees me walking almost on a daily basis, and I can assure you I do not walk in the middle of the road. However, I've been a resident for 37 years. I am a retired teacher in the Overage School District, and many of my second grade students would come in all excited and with pictures, and when they heard that I lived right near the light show, it was even more exciting. I am totally against this. What do we do if we have parties? My neighbor, she runs bunco once a month. She makes dinner for everyone with no cost except, for a little, we just do it for fun, not for money. Neighbors have parties all the time. But not all the time. The summer is really the biggest time. And so what? So you deal with it. It's called tolerance, something our world does not have anymore. And if there was a situation where an ambulance or a fire truck couldn't get through, believe me, we live in a neighborhood that everyone comes forward for each other, whether you know them or not. It's just that's how we are. And I believe that if you pass something like this, then it should be universal for Overage. Why are we being singled out? And I think that's it. Let me think. I have a few notes and I didn't bring my glasses. Anyway, I don't know, that's just basically it. I think we need to care about each other. It's the holiday spirit. There is so much going on in the world with shootings, with fires in California. Let's put our priorities where they belong. A short time during the year is not going to really inconvenience anyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Steve Gorkeski? No, this is it. This is the one. That's it.
Good evening.
Evening. Steve Goretsky. I've been a resident of Overage for 60 years, 38 on Central Avenue. I am in emergency services, as we all know. With that, I'd like to say is there's more parties we're all aware of that's in these groups of streets that are being affected. First of all, no for the ordinance. And there's many parties, more so during the summer, where if we had to get a fire truck or an ambulance down, it would be tight. Like they said before, we wouldn't probably hesitate a minute to push them out of the way, the cars, but you really need to take a look at that, and I think this thing needs to be worked on. It's just too much, too fast, too early. You just had all year to work on this and nothing was done about it. You just need to work on it, and I think it could be resolved. I'd like to wish everybody a very happy holiday and enjoy yourselves.
Thank you very much.
And safe one.
Thank you.
Noah Casca? Jamie Ann?
Good evening.
Good evening, members of the board and everyone else. My name is Jamie Ann Nowakowska, and I live at 100 Ticetown Road. This is a separate issue that has nothing to do with parking, but there's smoking allowed in my building, and I don't think it's really lawful.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is part of a second reading ordinance. So, no, that's okay. You can speak in the public portion, which will be up next.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
All right, no worries.
Tim Vasquez?
Good evening.
Council, how are you, and fellow neighbors? Been residing at 26 Brookside for over 20 years now, and I hike up and down that road. I hike down to the lake on a continuous basis. I have a property management business up north. I come in and out of the town at all times of the day or in the evening. I have never in 20 years had a problem with parking, never had an issue with first aid. My mother passed away July 3rd of last year, and I'll take this to a different level. I caretake of my parents at that house, and when my mom was sick with diabetes and everything like that, I had the first aiders at the house all the time, never had a problem with the police showing up at all times of the day, or holiday or not. So I believe that the ordinance was improperly drafted to include residential parking for everyone. If the target is the lights, well, then they should target the lights. I think law enforcement personnel get paid very well. All they have to do is enforce the law, parking, and especially speeding on Brookside Avenue, if that's the case. Because we do have a speeding issue on Brookside Avenue. So, in reference to the ordinance in specific, because I think it applies to parking in general, I think it's improperly drafted. You should reconsider and vote no. Thank you. Happy holidays.
Thank you very much. Okay. That was the list of people who signed up originally. Now, is there anyone else that would like to be heard one at a time? You can come forward, okay? Thank you. Okay, and just if you could state your name and address, please.
Carrie Richardson, 35 Central Avenue. I've lived here for 34 years almost. I am for the lights. I am not for taking away my parking. I am not for people walking down the middle of the road every day. I think that we need to organize it better. I have a 7-year-old. It's very sad that it comes down to that I feel like I can't take my 7-year-old to see these lights because I don't think these people want us there because of the fact that we are against them. We're not against them. We want it organized. We think that this is about the lights. This is not about parking. there is an issue. Last year, I got stuck behind a UPS truck that was stuck in the middle of the road. The UPS driver had to walk up to the lights to go get the person who parked and find that person. I sat there for 20 minutes. This all started, well, a lot of the online stuff started because of that, because I came out and said, people, be respectful. People live here. It needs to be organized. It needs to, I don't know, lighting, lines of cones, something. And the police officers, they are there, but they let people on the block. Because last year, me and my son went out to get them hot chocolate and coffee and donuts, and we came back. They let us on the block. They didn't know we lived there. I said to the guy, he said, "Ooh, I caught you. You caught me." I said, "Yeah, you did catch me, but guess what?" I said, "I don't care. This is for you. It's the holidays. We support it." I love the lights. I think they're great. I think what they do is great. We just need organization. We need people to help us feel comfortable there. And that is maybe roping off the street. Is there a section? Is there something that you could do to help us make it feel better to live there? It's not about the taking away our parking, because I have parties and it's unfair that I have a huge property. I have a huge driveway. I should not have to have every single person loading on my driveway and onto my parents' driveway and everything else. I should be able to use my street. It's a public street. We shouldn't have to take away our street parking. We should be able to just make this what it's about. It's about the lights. It's about the fact that people don't feel like safe, and we need to ask the council of the township to help us make this safe. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Hi, good evening. Allison Kelly. I also live on Central Avenue. I just want to add, this show has been going on for, I would say it has to be at least 14 years. It has not become a safety issue until the last 3 or 4 possibly. Ever since they went on the light show, it was a wonderful thing. Nobody was told about it. It went on. We were kind of trapped on our block. Ever since then, it has been crazy. You guys saw videos of what it looks like. It is bad. It is dangerous for the people that come there and the people that live there. But the town needs to find a way to let it continue safely. That's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you very much. Good evening. Hi. If you'd like to sit, it's up to you.
I'm fine.
Good? Okay.
My name is Janet Gaga, and I live on 9 Sadowski Drive. And I've been living in Overage for over 60 years. And one of the finest times I've ever remember is being a little girl, getting in my dad's car and riding through the neighborhood and looking at all the Christmas lights. And it was fun, fun, fun. And I want you to know my grandkids are coming down Thursday, and we're going to go look at all the Christmas lights, because this is what we do. And I have to tell you, if you're looking for traffic problems, Sadowski Drive is a hotbed of traffic problems because of the stores that are over there. There are accidents. Children are there with their bicycles, and nobody comes to check out that traffic problem. So all I can say is that there is a movie out called The Grinch, and somehow I feel that the Grinch is in this room with us tonight, but I would just like to say happy holidays to everybody. Keep your lights lit, because I will be riding by your houses to look at them. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Wow, how do you top that?
To follow. That's a tough one
All right,
to follow.
I'm JD, and I live in 3 Central Avenue. First of all, I did have a house fire at my house.
She just needs your name. She didn't hear it.
Jadine, Jadine Michelson.
Thank you.
I did have a fire at my house. And if you want to talk about fire safety, I'm not condemning anybody, but the fire hydrant on my end of the street, which is on Brookside, was not working. They had to use Tom and Chris's fire hydrant all the way up there so I can have water to put out my fire. Tom and Chris have done wonders for Overage, and I don't think anybody realizes this. And also, just not for nothing, When you want to talk about safety issues before the cops arrived to see the Christmas lights display, I was out there in white jackets wearing a yellow thing with 2 flashlights in my hand. And a couple of neighbors, I'm not mentioning no names because that's what I'm not here for, almost took me and my ass on the floor. So they should think about safety before they open their mouths. And thank you for listening. And Chris and Tom, job well done.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening.
My name is Barbara Ann McMillan. I live at 271 Herbert Avenue. I lived in Overage for almost 50 years. My husband was a scoutmaster, altogether for 60 years. Thomas was in his troop. At a very young age, Thomas was decorating his house on Herbert Avenue. Then he went to West Avenue. He brings children there that are in handicap, in wheelchairs. You see their faces light up for a short time. That is so important to them. Christmas is a joy time. It's Jesus' birthday, and let's keep it that way and make it for children, not for adults, for tearing people apart, and good people like the Pruzis have done. God bless them all.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else in the public? You already spoke. It's for, let me see if there's other people that want to speak. Okay? Did you want to speak? Okay, good evening.
Good evening. My name's Lucy Kurtz. I live at 48 North Street. I want to say the lights are beautiful, but that's not what we're here for. We're here for the parking, and I disagree. I would say vote no for the residential parking only. It will include us to get permits, correct? So that's a cost to us. We pay a lot in taxes.
No cost.
The court there.
Permit for parking.
Yeah, no.
For parking is not a cost. Okay,
No,
so
no.
then that resolves that. But in addition, just to add to that, for our parking, when we have parties, as everyone is saying, from dusk to dawn, they're saying that it's okay, it's okay to park your cars. But in the meanwhile, you can still have people at your house. What do you do in the middle of a party? Well, oh, ran late, so now what? They're all going to get ticketed. We're going to get ticketed. Also, the lights what they do with the lights is amazing. Old Bridge, I do a lot of volunteering in Old Bridge for the community. I work for the district. I think Old Bridge itself, it comes together when they need to. And we're getting away from the fact that they do good for the community and for other people. So if Old Bridge comes together for 21 days, it resolves all of the issues. So I think that you guys should come up with a different solution.
Thank you very much. Okay. Anyone else from the public wish to be heard? No? Okay. Seeing no more hands. All right. No, that's fine. I just don't want to.
The one thing I forgot to say was, if this should pass, what does that do for the value of our home if we try to sell it?
Thought? Okay, thank you for your concerns. Okay, so now I will close the public portion, okay? Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to have the police give their report. Do you have anything for us, gentlemen?
I believe you were provided a copy, all council members.
Okay, did everyone have a chance? Okay. They were emailed, right? Yeah.
I have a question on the report.
Oh, okay, 1 second, let me just, all right, so everybody did read the report of the council. Okay, so now we will go to the council comments. So we will start with, Mr. Murphy, you want to begin? Your questions?
I have a question, but I'd like to speak last. I want to speak last, give me time. I want to have some things that want to be brought up tonight that I want to.
Okay, well, that's, you want to be.
My question would be,
Yeah, you have to turn your mic on, John, so we can hear you.
The police report, I read it, and it basically, the conclusion said, if you don't park cars on streets, they become safer. I agree. But what does that mean?
John, let's let them come up. Please come up and yeah, give some, yeah, please.
Council, thank you, Mayor. I'm not quite sure of
your question to me.
Can you introduce yourself?
Correct, so. Right, so you're telling me that it's unsafe to have cars parked out on a narrow street.
I'm just saying that was a kind of unusual statement to make. I mean, that's common sense. Come on.
Right, it is common sense that
Right.
on a 23.5-foot street, it's unsafe to have vehicles parked.
How
on both
about on
sides.
an 11-foot street in Lawrence Harbor around curves? Is that unsafe?
Yeah, that's unsafe.
Okay, well, there's a lot worse streets. That's all I want to say.
So, yeah, can you give your report, please? Because that's what everybody wants to hear. What were your findings, so that you can introduce yourself and you can give us your findings, please.
I'm Officer Penley, Overage Police Department, Traffic and Safety. I was asked to check Brookside and the connecting streets for safety issues about parking. I went out there, I took measurements of the roadways out there. If everybody has my report, we could go step by step. Aside from Independence Ave, which is tiny, 29 feet wide, all the other streets, Riverdale is approximately 20 feet wide where it connects to Brookside. Central Ave is 21, West Ave is 22, Lorton is 22, North Street is 23. Brookside itself, north of West Ave, averages 23.5 feet wide. There's residential areas, small wooded areas. There's fire hydrants that run up the right side, the north side of the roadway. The situation is when a vehicle parks there, it's unable, there's no shoulder area, so it does have to park on the blacktop. So 23 feet, take away the width of a car, parking, doors opening, and it needs to support two-way traffic. With that said, everything except for Independence, which is 29 feet wide, purely from a safety point of view, it's not safe to have pedestrians and two-way traffic on a roadway that wide. Does it happen? Yes, it happens. I don't know if anybody needs any more engineering than that as far as measurements or anything like that to say that's an unsafe situation. I believe some of the residents even came up and voiced their concern about summer parties, winter lights, when vehicles, especially when they're parked on both sides of the roadway, it's impassable. So unless there's a way to get these vehicles off the roadway and parked on private property, there's really not ample parking to support any kind of gathering in that area. I'd like to address, it's not in my report, maybe there's some confusion about residential parking permits. The Township Clerk's Office issues them to residents. They also are allowed visitor passes. If someone's having a party, they could come and request temporary extra passes that would be given out to them that would include those times. So it wouldn't be a burden on them per se. Is there any other questions on the report?
I don't understand why that area. You have, the woman spoke about living on Marsad over there, and she's right. Coming off Marlborough Road, that's because people have to go to St. Thomas to make the U-turn. That's what they have to do now. I've almost gotten hit at least 3 times in the last 2 months. The parking over there is horrendous. Go to the other side of Overage, Austin Park, all those streets, all dead ends.
John.
They park on, my question, they park on both sides of the street. Why isn't something done there?
We have to stay on, we have to just, we're addressing your issue and the issue at that area. That's what we're talking about tonight.
I'm saying this is a lot, this isn't even a problem compared to 80% of the rest of the town. Or, no, I'm wrong there, 30% of the rest of the town. I just feel, it's not completely a parking or a safety issue.
All right. John, do you have any other questions?
You folks
Okay,
going to
guys.
conduct yourself appropriately?
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen,
no,
you were
that's
all given
fine.
an opportunity to speak.
Right. We've all
Let the
listened.
council
Let's
speak.
see
If you
we
want to
can-
come up in your 5-minute period, you can do
Right.
that, but it doesn't do any good shouting and
Right.
screaming
Yeah,
amongst
we're
everybody.
just trying to
please.
gather all the information and get the information from the police department as well, so we get a clear picture. Okay, does anyone else from the council have any questions as far as the report from the police department? Anyone feel they need any other questions answered? This side, no? Anybody? All right, over here, no? Okay, so then, thank you.
Council President, might I just make a
Yep.
closing? I'll stand up so I can see everybody. Again, I thank everyone for coming out, and I really do respect and accept your comments tonight. But the difference is, see, I have a responsibility, and I'm trying to, and this had to take place. This was a process we had to go through, and I thank you for coming out. Believe me, it's not, I don't have something else up my sleeve. I'm not a politician. I'm a responsible person, and that's what I have a job to do, to come before the council. Now I will accept and respect their decision, but then they have to accept now the responsibility of their decision. Okay, they have to accept that. And they have responsibility. They represent you, and they represent, 69,500 other people in this town. So I really do appreciate you. I'm not the enemy. I am not the enemy. I'm looking out for your best interest, what I think they are, as far as my job description is. Okay, I live there. And I want to make sure you're safe. And even if it's only 1 minute, what'd you say, 84 hours? We couldn't take the phone off the hook at dispatch for 84 hours. We can't take the phone off the hook for one night. We can't take the phone off the hook if it's just 4 hours. We can't do that. We have to maintain safety 24/7. So there's things we can talk about. As far as permits are concerned, there's going to be no fee. I misspoke about the top end of North Street with the sidewalks. I think this ordinance will only go to Lorton. When the road widens up and the sidewalks, obviously, that was my fault. So I'm concerned about, so help me. Help me. If you want to, okay, I'm okay. I can put my head down on my pillow tonight. Cookie. Can I take questions? No. It's a council meeting. We've all been reminded.
Yeah, let's do our council comments, okay, please? Thank you so much. Let me get the opinion from the council people
Again,
as well.
ladies and gentlemen,
All
thank you
right?
for coming out.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it. I just want to get the opinion of the council.
Council President, that's all I have.
Okay, thank you very much, Mayor. Thank you. All right. So anyone else on this side of the dais? Mr. Merwin?
Yes. For 46 years, I've been in public safety, and public safety consists of fire, EMS, and police. Now, I did my due diligence, and I checked with the fire official and the fire chief, and they have no problem as far as public safety is concerned. All right? EMS had no problem, right? The mayor's own testimony has known about this problem for 3 years. So he waits until October 22nd to dump it on us. This is something that could have been taken care of a long time ago. All right? He had a whole year to come up with solutions. He waits until October 22nd. All right? This is not a remedy. This is a penalty for everybody that lives out there. All right? I've spoke to the fire official who's come up with several solutions, and I'm sure that the police department has thought these out too. You have a gate onto the old Sunset Avenue. So if you allow the cars to park and only go out and exit to go through the sun, all right, that would take care of a lot of the problems. But these are things that could have been taken care of, but we wait until October 22nd. This was an ill-conceived ordinance. It calls for all of North Street because it wasn't thought. So, Mayor, if we do pass it, those houses will not be exempt from it because it says entire length. This was just thrown together, and this is one of the things when we have discussions that this was rushed to and put up for second reading immediately without us having the knowledge of what was going to be in it. All right? This is a ridiculous proposal, and I hope we turn it down. Thank you.
Yes, I just question for the attorney. I abstained at first reading. I do business with TA Sprinkler. I've used them. Do I still have a conflict? I just want to put that on the record. I use
No.
TA Sprinkler as a service.
Not at all. This isn't about TA Sprinkler.
Well, that's who
look,
runs
as a
the light show.
byproduct, listen, as a byproduct, clearly the lighting program that he puts on draws people from out of Old Bridge from all over. It's for someone to sit here and say that that's not a consideration, they're not being honest with you, because it clearly is. And but as far as the fact that you may use his company is not, because that's not the issue. The issue is whether or not you're going to approve the limited parking on the hours.
I just want to make sure if I voted, I wasn't in conflict, that's all. Thank you very much.
Okay, you through, Mr. Cahill?
I am.
Okay. Mrs. Brown? No? Okay. Mr. Rizzoli? Okay. The dais? Mrs. Walker?
Hi. When this was first brought to our attention at the last meeting, Dr. Greenberg and myself were at-large councilmen, which means we represent the whole town. So what we did is we had put a flyer together with our cards on it, and we put it to every house that was affected, because we don't live in that area, but we wanted to know what your opinion was and what your thoughts were. So what I received a lot of feedback, I think, as well as Dr. Greenberg, from emails, phone calls, texting, whatever. And I was really surprised, because I thought a lot of people were going to say, we don't like the light show, we don't like the congestion, but it was just the opposite. Everybody, I say 95% of the people said, we love the light show, we don't care about the traffic, and we want it to stay. And so after hearing all of you here tonight, I really personally don't feel that the eliminating the parking all year is the best solution. Because I think in July, in the middle of the summer, it's not right. It's only, what, I'd be 5 or 6 weeks the light show is? 4 weeks? And it's only, I think, Wednesday till Sunday, correct? So I don't think that that is the solution to the problem. I mean, I was thinking, I don't know, maybe possibly could we do a temporary parking on one side of the street, maybe during those weeks that the show was going on, that would open up the traffic a little better. I think we do need a solution to help the safety, but I don't think that this resident-only parking is the solution.
Anyone else wish to be heard?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg?
First of all, I would like to thank everyone for coming out tonight. And although you feel that you came down here without a purpose, really it is a purpose, because as council members, we do want to hear from you. And we're sorry you had to get you out of your house. But really the reason to come here was really to hear from you, and that's why we relayed the flyer, because we walked that neighborhood, Councilwoman Sohar, Walker, and myself, because for the express reason we needed the information that you provided. I never want to vote on anything blindly and without really how it impacts the people that live in that particular area. I could tell you this also from the mayor. The reason why this was brought up is because he is inundated. He's not doing it to target anyone, hurt the light show, ruin anyone's Christmas, be the Grinch or anything else. He's doing it because he fields so many questions, so many complaints, so many calls during the holidays. There are people that complain about it. But the sad part that we realize is it's not the residents in the area. It's people coming from other areas. So this exercise here tonight is really to find out, what do we do to protect you that lives here, because it is about public safety. We've been lucky. There hasn't been any incident. One incident could change everything. But not only that, sometimes with this situation when people come from all over. I've ridden down there on days there's nothing. They're dead-end streets. You have to go down the street and do a K-turn. There's not even a cul-de-sac that you could turn around in. So when it's congested, it's very, very difficult. Also, there are people that have children. And just like you say, everyone wears black. You could cross Route 9 during the winter. It's dangerous when people cross that street. It's not isolated, the problems and the concerns just to one area. We're focusing on it for public safety. So there's people that bring their children down there. If they brought little flashlights, walked with them, walked on the side. There's people who don't even hold their children's hands all the time. And there's other people that came there. They may not be here tonight, but I know the mayor. I know that he is concerned about people. He said there's people that come down the road and there's kids that have run out. God forbid, how would you feel for the rest of your life on a joyous holiday? You're looking at Christmas lights and you hit a child that ran out. So we have to be reasonable and we have to be responsible when we do this. But most of all, we have to find a solution. I admire the people that the owners of the property. I commend you for making that effort and doing it. And like you said, we've heard from everyone in the area. Everyone likes it. It's part of their tradition to go there, to hear the music, hear the lights. There's always people in your neighborhood, you may not know them, that are the Grinch that are calling and saying, I don't like it, I don't like the noise, that. That's not the point. The point is to find a solution that everyone is satisfied. I personally don't think year-round parking permits, residential parking is the answer. From what I can see in that area, just the roadways are very narrow. 2 cars can't go down at the same time. If there's cars parking on each side, it's even more dangerous. As far as everyone I saw that down there, their cars are parked in their driveway, or they do have an area that they designated on their front lawn. So we do have to come up with a solution. When everyone says, oh, the police can be there, the police can do it, the police have to really take care of the whole town. They just can't focus on one area. So maybe if they hire specials, maybe if they put in, I know they make donations to the veterans and other things, but maybe if everyone wants to make a donation to pay for the specials, maybe there's specials or even people that have the expertise that they can volunteer their time. I don't know. I don't want to put that on anybody. But we do have to come to a conclusion and how we're going to resolve this problem so people feel safe going up and down that street. It is narrow, and on a good day, and as far as, like I said, there's not a cul-de-sac to turn around, so we have to be responsible. As far as targeting an area, no, I don't think we're targeting it. I think it just came up at this particular time of year that there is, a concern. So if anyone, whether it's alternate parking, whether it's just not even parking, if there was an area where people could park and then walk into that area, it's a very unique area. But I'll tell you, people are very happy with it. Everyone that we spoke to, they want it, they enjoy it, they look forward to it. And I commend the owners that go through that effort and make it so nice for everyone in that area. And I hope that between public safety and getting their input, and maybe the owners, I would like, maybe they have a solution how we can do this. But I don't think from anyone wants year-round restriction. And it's not targeting them, it's helping them. I know when there's events, a lot of times in parades, signs go up on telephone poles and trees, no parking. Whether, it's a marathon, a run, things are blocked up. So really this tonight was for me an exercise on getting input from anyone, but also resolving the problem that does exist. So everyone can live there in peace and satisfied, enjoy the holidays. Enjoy the holidays really, every year, not just this year, all the time, where we don't have to be revisiting this, but we do have to always think of public safety. And there's some people that I did hear from that are with the fire department, and they did say they do recognize, different concerns down there. We spoke to people in OEM, but The people that live there, we've heard you loud and clear. We know, you know, what you want, and we're going to try and come up with a solution for you. Thank you. Mary?
Mr. Pisghetti?
Yes, I didn't hear one person come up and that was for the parking permits. Not one resident wants it. So, you know, I thought it was like throwing the baby out with the bathwater. But what I would like to see is, you know, if we just voted no, then this thing is going to die. But if we create a committee, then we can figure out some sort of solution. So maybe we can table it.
I think the mayor can.
I'm sure everybody has ideas.
Can I speak?
Okay, now, is there anyone else wish to speak?
I didn't get to speak because I wanted the clarification.
Okay, you want to be last, Mr. Murphy, so I'm going to acknowledge Mr. Cahill.
Thank you. I wanted to get clarification. I thought I was conflicted. That's why I didn't speak, so I want to speak now. So a couple points. You know, I think this is a really good process, okay? You know, I've heard some comments about the mayor. The mayor lives down there. I don't think he's doing this for any other reason for what the stated reason, which was safety. And I believe him, and I think that's his motivation. I've also heard from people in the public who live there, who really, you know, have a problem with this. I also heard from the owners of TA Sprinkler who do the light show, and they do a tremendous job. They donate money to, you know, to charity, and I really appreciate that. You know, I think this whole thing was good for that part of the area. Everybody kind of had their opportunity to speak in public, and I would really like to see, I don't think we need a committee. I don't think the township needs to be involved in this. I think the residents in that area should get together and figure this out themselves. They're the ones who live there. They can figure this out, and they can work with us. But I think this is an issue for that part of town, and you guys have managed this before, and I think, quite frankly, you can do it without our help. So I'm still speaking, thank you. So I just wanted to say that. I think, you know, that I think this is a good process. People got to speak, and I commend everybody for coming here and being professional and just voicing your concerns. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, any other council member aside from Mr. Murphy? Okay.
Just having a question for the attorney. Now that we've discussed it here, and we're aware that there is a problem that exists, and we don't do anything about it, and I'm not saying that residential parking, you know, restriction is the answer, but now that we're on notice about the congestion there, parking, people, the roadway, people walking in the roadway for these few weeks, having access, people speeding down there, kids running around, you know, in dark clothes that you can't see, etc. God forbid something happens. Where are we right now with this? That's why I'm very concerned.
Okay.
Well, the reality is this, is the township's aware that there's an issue. The police have done their study, and based on their report and the conversations I've had with the police department, as well as the mayor's office, there's liability on the township because, God forbid, somebody who's from out of town's kid is running across the street, and it's not the locals. It's you know, look, it's a big event. I mean, this thing, and TNA does a great job. It's a big event. It gets television coverage. It gets all kinds of, you know, media coverage, and people come up here to see it, and they love it, and everybody loves it. The issue is the safety of the people that are coming to see it, and the parking is so limited that these kids and people are walking in the middle of the street. The police officers say it's uncontrollable. Some of them were spat at last year. I mean, this is coming from the police department, so not from me. So it's a problem that has to be dealt with. And if, God forbid, if somebody gets hurt, injured, killed, whatever the case may be, the township's going to be on the hook. So we've got to come up with a solution that works so that this tradition can carry on. I don't think there's anything more than that the mayor wants, but he has a responsibility, and the township is aware of it. So that's, as far as liability goes, that's the short answer. What the resolution is, I don't have a magic ball, but clearly there's a problem, and it's not that anybody here doesn't want the lights. There's probably people at home that don't want it, I don't know. But from a legal perspective, you're on notice as a township, there's liability there, and something has to be done. And what the answer is, I don't know. You can't have, unless you're going to pay for cops to be there on every street corner and the whole 9 yards, whatever it may cost, but other than that, because a lot of these streets don't have exits, and the professionals will tell you if you have parking on both sides of the streets on the 23 feet, what's a car, 5 feet wide, 6 feet wide? You're down to 12 feet. So out of 23, you got 11 feet for an ambulance or a fire truck or someone. The numbers don't crunch out, folks, and that's the dilemma during this time of year. And so the answer to your question is, Councilwoman, is that the township will have liability because they're aware of the situation and they've got to do something to remedy it. And that's the reality of it. So they got to come up with a solution.
Okay.
Question to the attorney is, so if we bring up 34 in Amboy and say we need a traffic light and we don't take any action, we have a liability? I mean, you know,
that's a state road. That's a state road.
Discuss.
Mr. Merwin, that's a state road. And if you want to have discussions about other areas, then I will be glad to do that with you and be prepared for it. I'm discussing this one location and the reports I've got from the police department and the width of the streets. There's no exits. They can't even route the people through here. It's not even like they could stand out there and have a temporary traffic flow pattern because of the configuration. Will you hold on a second, please? There are gates down there in certain locations that the officers told me. One, there's a pump house or something that there's got to remain free. There's the estuary, something across the street that is, that you're not permitted to use. So that limits any parking there. And the roads that are dead ends, there's no way for the officers to cycle the vehicles through this and keep everybody moving. Plus, they all want to come and they want to see the 20-minute show. They want to walk. So that's what we're dealing with. And that's what's before council on this parking ordinance. And, clearly the residents don't like it because it limits them all year long. I mean, there's no doubt about it. So, what the resolution is, council's going to have to make the decision. The question was liability. There's clearly liability.
Right. Anyone else from the council? Yes. John,
Is it possible to do the one side temporary parking?
No.
John, I'm not speaking to you.
She called on me.
Let her finish and you're going to
Is it possible for us to put those temporary signs up and just do one side of the street parking?
It backfired when they did it at the mail, when the post office was died on 516. Excuse me, it backfired. People who came to visit me at my house got tickets because there were permit parking.
All right, ma'am.
It's going to backfire.
Okay, all right.
Say permit parking. I said paper signs on the poles just saying one side of the street during this 4 weeks.
Okay.
All
right.
I'm sorry to put you on. Do you have any solutions for this?
Can I speak, please? It's council comments. Okay.
All right.
First of all, Mayor, when you were speaking before, did you say if anything happens, it's put on the council? Did you say that, or it's put on the township?
Put on the township.
Okay.
And I have an obligation to bring it to the council.
Right, but you also have an obligation to take care of every street that is thing. So it's the same thing. You have a lot streets a lot worse. And I understand.
People came to me with this situation. If someone comes to me from another part, send them to me, Mr. Murphy. Send them to me.
Okay.
People came to me.
Well, I don't know who came to you with it. None of them were here tonight.
Over there. What?
So I didn't know. So I don't know. I don't know if somebody came to you. Okay. Anyway.
But they're in the minority, Mr. Murphy.
Let him finish, John. Go ahead.
This is my ward. I have responsibility to both sides. I want to appreciate the public coming, and they had said some things about the mayor, and you didn't bring that out, which I was grateful for, and I appreciate that. But how, you know, those streets, I was going to say I've been here longer than anybody. I've been here 60 years, and that's why I ran for council. And I want to apologize to Mrs. Sohar, the council, and the public, because I have a passion for Old Bridge. I really do. That's why I ran. And I do get excited, and I do get out of hand. And it's not just here. That's the way I am. I spoke to a lot of people there and spent a lot of time with Mr. Abruzzi, and I spoke to everybody, and everybody didn't seem to think it was the parking. They thought, like I said tonight, it was the Christmas show. I'm not going to say what it was, what it wasn't. Those streets at one time, I don't know if you remember, they looped. I don't know why they unlooped them. And they could have, in the last 8 years, been re-looped. I don't understand what, they all connected at one time. I don't know why they did that. Maybe the people wanted dead ends, which is nice to live on a dead end street. But like I said, I sympathize with Mr. Kelly, and I sympathize with Mr. Abruzzi. During election, the last election, at the poll, I was told by Mr. Abruzzi that he spoke to the mayor. He was upset because he felt that he wasn't involved in the conversations. The mayor, while another councilman was present, said, "I wash my hands of it. I am not going to be a bah humbug." Well, I'm not washing my hands. What I spoke to him, and what I spoke to Mr. Abruzzi, and what Mr. What's your last name? Merwin said is right. There can be a thing, and it comes. I'm looking in now to see who owns the property, and maybe somebody that I have a good association with, and we can take it past the lake to Hernal. I think Sayreville Water Company owns it, and if not, the other water company does, which I speak to both of them. So I'm going to work on that. But one other thing, I emailed Mr. Kelly. Mr. Abruzzi has no problem with Mr. Kelly because he understands. Mr. Kelly has no problem trying to work things out. He said that would be the best for everybody. So I don't want to say call it a committee, but I'd like to help them. I don't know what's going to be done by Friday, but I'd like to come up with a solution so everybody's happy. It's my ward. I want both sides of it happy. That's all I have to say. And happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
All right.
One more thing.
Go ahead.
Okay. Also, they're telling me there's a plan B when they heard that it might be they were hearing the thing might get voted down. Now what happened, and I'm going to have a little, I'm hoping I don't have a problem with Kenny here. I spoke extensively to Mr. Roselli about this. I actually have an email from him, and we talked about it. He said, "John, I heard there's 300 to 1,000 people there." So we sent a letter to Mr. Abruzzi because he considers that mass assembly, that Mr. Abruzzi will have to pay a $250 permit, pay for all the street lighting or something, and $250 a day to put it on. And I said, listen, I'm not so sure 3,000 people showed up in a day. Listen to me. He said to me, he said, no, it's 300 at one time. And I'm hoping Mr. I don't know, Lazzoli or whatever his name is. I'm hoping he's not going to have a problem with that because I have an email and I want to go with what he said. And if that's the case, I'd like to waive all those fees. This is not going to be a mass assembly. There is never 1,000 people at one time. You don't understand what 1,000 people would do and to be there. I was the key to it. If there were 400, it was a lot. You can't get 1,000 people in front of a house. That's a lot of people. So what I want to do, as Mr. What's his name? Yeah, Kenny. Is that true that a mass assembly is 1,000 people at one time?
I believe that that's not the case.
Well,
and Mr. Roselli, I think, sent a letter to you everybody and.
He sent it to them. I have an email that says, John, it's 1,000. If there's not
John, I'm not going to argue with you
Okay.
over what you spoke to Mr. Roselli about. The issue is whether you're voting yes or no on this ordinance amendment, and that's quite
No,
frankly
it's a twofold thing. I want to waive the fees. I want to waive the fees.
If that's not, issue hasn't
We're
come up
getting-
yet. It's moot. It hasn't even come up yet.
Right. We haven't
If it
gotten
comes up, you can
to
make that motion.
Yeah, we're not at that
That's-
juncture
Okay, so
in time.
we're not considering it's a mass assembly at this point. Okay.
Right now,
That was what the letter they sent to him said. It was a mass assembly. This is why I don't like switching the lawyers when they feel like it. Well, and I'm sorry, I understand he has a
Excuse me,
sickness
Mr.
in his
Murphy,
family.
just- no,
I'd
but-
like to make an ordinance. I'd like to. I'm
Can't
sorry.
make an ordinance
I'd
tonight,
like to
Mr.
make a motion.
We can't. All right, John, just
there's
take a
a-
deep breath. Mr. Roselli is not here due to, he has a very bad family situation, someone very ill. So that's the reason for that. And Mr. Logier is up to speed, and he does a wonderful job as well. So that's not the point. Before you go on, John, we can't go to Z, we're at A. So let's figure out what we're doing here now, and then we'll go for there, okay? You're finished with your comments? Okay, thank you very much. All right, I will close the comments just by saying that I too think it was good to have the conversation. I think it's very important to listen to your residents. Even though I'm not your ward representative, you're still part of the town, and I feel I still have an obligation, to listen to everyone, and it's appreciated. I hope we can come up with something that works for your area, as Mr. Cahill said too. It is something that you want to have input in, and you want to decide how things go. So we really do appreciate you coming out and all the time that you've given us this evening. Thank you. So now we're going to...
Are we going to hear from?
I'm sorry? Well, first we have to decide if the ordinance up or down, and then they can give us their recommendations. Let it go down. Right, exactly. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to ask for a motion for this ordinance. Does anyone want to make a motion for the ordinance?
I'll move it so we can vote.
Okay. And anyone second it so we can vote?
A second it so we can vote.
Right, okay, so Mrs. Walker, Dr. Greenberg Belli, and now we're going to vote, okay?
Mrs. Brown?
No.
Mr. Cahill?
No.
Dr. Greenberg?
No.
Mr. Merwin?
We have a problem out there, but this is not the answer, no.
Mr. Murphy?
No.
Mr. Pisghetti?
No.
Mr. Rizzoli?
No.
Mrs. Walker?
No, and I hope we find a solution, though.
President Selhor?
No, but we will try to work on it. We have to work on a solution.
9.
All right. Yeah,
You're welcome to stay, or we could take a couple of
we're
minutes.
going to take a we're going to take a 5-minute break, and then we will be back in session for the
Happy
body of the
Thanksgiving,
meeting.
everyone.
Yes, for the rest of the meeting. For those who are leaving, have a happy and a safe Thanksgiving, and thank you again for coming this evening. Yeah, we're all, okay, yes. All right, let's call this meeting back to order.
Ladies and
Excuse
gentlemen,
me.
we have to conduct the meeting. Folks, we got to conduct the meeting.
Right.
If you'd like to stay, you're more
Right.
than welcome.
You can be seated, please, if you'd like to stay, but we have to now conduct the meeting. All right, anybody who's not staying, have a happy holiday, and here we go. All right. Debbie, are you ready for the bill list?
All right, let's go.
Okay. All right, we're going to begin with the bill list.
Email me.
Mrs. Walker?
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, go
Accounts
ahead.
payable.
Ladies and gentlemen, please.
Okay, guys,
Ladies and
please.
gentlemen, we have to conduct our meeting. Please, you can go outside and chat.
Absolutely. Okay, so first is bill list and Mrs. Walker.
Accounts payable, November 19, 2018, $21,801,966.74.
Do I have a motion? Okay, moved by Dr. Greenberg Belli, second by Mr. Rizzoli.
Brown?
Off the dais.
Off the dais. Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Off the
Mr. Pisghetti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohor?
Yes.
7 yes.
Payroll, October 26, 2018, $951,400.61.
Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Pisghetti, second by Mr. Rizzoli.
Mrs. Brown? Yes. Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Pisghetti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohor?
Yes.
7 yes.
Payroll overtime, October 26, 2018, $48,621.95.
Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
By Dr. Greenberg Belli, second by Mr. Pisghetti. Can we have a breakout, Mr. Shaw?
Sure. Thank you, Council Presidents. As Councilwoman Walker indicated, the total overtime was $48,621.95. There were not really uptick in any other departments. For the sworn officer overtime was, for this period, was $37,414.91. There was no grant deductions. When you deduct for ETO of $17,419.97, net overtime was $19,994.94, representing 619.25 men and women hours. There was in-service training during this period, and also we have 2 officers injured on duty during this period.
Thank you, Mr. Shaw. So we had a,
Mr. Cahill?
Ms. Brown, she's back.
Yes.
Ms. Brown? Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Pisghetti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohor?
Yes.
9 yes.
Payroll, November 9, 2018, $976,291.02.
Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Moved by Mr. Pisghetti, second by Mr. Rizzoli.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg? Yes. Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Pisghetti? Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohor?
Yes.
9 yes.
Payroll overtime, November 9, 2018, $52,302.42.
Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Pisghetti, second by Dr. Greenberg Belli. Can we have a breakout, Mr. Shaw?
Yes, Council President, thank you. As indicated, the total overtime for this period was $52,302.42. There was an uptick in recreation related to Halloween festival event, the spectacular. For the sworn officers, total overtime was $41,489.03. There was no grant deductions. When you deduct for ETO of $11,816.48, the total overtime was $29,672.55, representing 627.75 men and women hours. Again, this in-service training in this period, and also 2 officers were injured on duties.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shaw.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Pisghetti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohor?
Yes.
9 yes.
And that concludes the bill list.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Walker. Now, ordinances for second reading. We have ordinance number 1. It's 2018-28, LDO, an ordinance of the Township of Overage, amending Chapter 250 of the Code of the Township of Overage, entitled Overage Township Land Development Ordinance, by amending definition section of the same.
Move it.
Second.
I can open it to the public. Is there anyone in the public who would like to be heard on this ordinance? Seeing no hands, I will close the public portion. I have, who made the motion? Mr. Merwin, and second by Mr. Pisghetti.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Pisghetti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohor?
Yes.
9 yes.
Okay, next is preliminary public comments to council, subject to the following conditions and restrictions. During the preliminary public portion of the meeting, any person may address the Township Council on any subject matters for a maximum period of 5 minutes. Any such person desiring to speak during the preliminary public portion shall first sign a list maintained by the Township Clerk for such purpose. Comments during the preliminary public comment portion of the meeting shall not encompass second reading ordinances or any other matter for which comment or a public hearing is to occur at the meeting. Anyone sign up? Okay. Nothing? Okay. Next would be, I'll close then the public, and I will open it to council member comments. Anyone from the council wish to comment? Yes.
Yeah, I would just like to take the opportunity to wish everybody a very happy Thanksgiving, healthy and happy. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Greenberg?
I would just like the public to be aware that through the Shade Tree Commission, if anyone wants a tree planted at their residence, but the planting would have to be in the public right-of-way or easement, they can get trees planted through the Shade Tree Commission. You can just go online and you can get a request for a tree form and fill that out. And the next seasonal, next time that the planting is done, you'll be on the list and get a tree planted. So I didn't know whether people are aware of that, and I wanted to bring that to their attention. Also, tonight on the agenda, we talked about Kennedy International, and I would like to say that we're so glad to have them in the community. We had the ribbon cutting there a few weeks ago, and I went to the warehouse. It's on Waterworks Road, and it's a very impressive building. The owner is very interesting and very good for the community in many ways. Not only that, when we were there, you could tell that the employees that they hired, the people really like working there. And aesthetically, it's improved the area so much. It's really a plus for the township, for the people that are employed there, for the people that work also, as far as the grounds, the way that they're maintained, and the recreation facilities that he has there. So I just wanted to put a comment out to the owners of Kennedy International. Thank you for choosing Old Bridge, and it's really a wonderful thing for the township, and I truly hope that it changes that whole area. And that's all at this time.
Thank you. Mrs. Walker?
Yes, I just want to wish everyone a happy and safe Thanksgiving. And also, I want the public to be aware we're having our tree lighting this year on December 3rd. We're not having a council meeting that night. Usually we do afterwards, but this time we're just having the tree lighting.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Council President.
Yes, Mr. Merwin.
Yes. I just, I've been in contact with the administration and Nicole Shapiro. The beachfront in Lawrence Harbor, Cliffwood Beach area has taken a serious beating in the last couple of nor'easters that we've had. And Mayor, I was speaking to you in Atlantic City there about the one behind the police substation where there's a forced sewer main that's becoming closer to the surface than we would like. Nicole says she's been in contact with the county and, you know, they're amiable to maybe taking care of it, but can we make sure that we stay on top of that so that we can have that? Unfortunately, because of the lead, we had met with the DEP sometime about 10 days ago or something, and we missed out on the beach area, the complete beach area being replenished because of the lead situation. The guy at the DEP says he's going to try to get that money and see if he can hold on to it, but it doesn't look good. But if we stay on top of this, maybe we can take care of that. Thank you.
Yeah, we're well aware of what's going on over there, and as long as the county is going to take responsibility to do something, we're going to take them for their word. The minute they say they're not, then the township and the MUA obviously is going to have to do something to protect that infrastructure. That's a big line, and it could create an environmental disaster.
No doubt.
Oh.
And I just want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Anyone else down here? Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes, I'd like to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. Have a safe day. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else on this side of the dais? Anyone here? Okay, I'll close the council comments by just saying I want to say thank you to everyone that works at the food bank, volunteers at the food bank. They do an amazing job, and especially this time of year, you know, they're putting together baskets for those in need. And if anyone, you know, wants to make a contribution to the food bank, of course, all year, but at this time of year, it really is important, you know, for people that are in need. So anyone out there would like to donate. Also, have a very happy, safe, and healthy Thanksgiving. Thank you. Report of the township clerk? Okay. Report of the township attorney?
None at this time.
Okay. Administrative report?
Thank you, Council Presidents. The administrative report for November 19th. Item number 1, recycling coach. In November 2018, the Township of Overage introduced the new recycling coach app. The app is provided by NJDEP and is free to all New Jersey towns and residents. Residents can download the app and get reminders about curbside recyclings, important schedule changes, storm alerts, and more. The What Goes Where feature is a great tool to find out how to dispose of household items and recycle right. For more detail, go to www.overage.com/recycling. Item number 2, calendar year 2018, state fiscal year 2019, NJDCA best practice inventory. On Saturday, November 10, 2018, the calendar year 2018 NJDCA best practice inventory was submitted by the Department of Finance to the Division of Local Government Services. There were total 61 questions, and the township total score was 92%. Township will receive their full final state aid payment in December as a result of having scored over 75%. The best practice inventory is on tonight's meeting as a discussion item to review in further detail. Item number 3, Mayor Henry's Clean Team. On Saturday, November 10, 2018, Mayor Henry and a volunteer from the Office of Emergency Management, Club Scout Pack number 219, and the Old Bridge Militia Foundation cleaned various roadways throughout the township, including Kearney Avenue, Poor Farm Road, and Jake Brown Road. This was the last litter cleanup of the year. To get involved with the Clean Team in 2019, residents should email to Clean Community Coordinator at recycling@oldbridge.com. Item number 4, American Recycling Day. On Thursday, November 15, 2018, the Recycling Division kicked off Instagram contest in recognition of American Recycling Day. Residents are eligible to win Amazon gift card and gift baskets from Whole Foods by simply uploading a 1-minute video showing us how you are recycling right in Old Bridge. The posting with most like will win. Visit oldbridge.com/recycling for more detail. Number 5, Thanksgiving Day holiday. On Thursday, November 22nd, 2018, and Friday, November 23rd, 2018, all municipal offices will be closed in observance of Thanksgiving holiday. As a note, the recycling center will be open on Saturday, November 24th from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Item number 6, Shop Small or Small Business Saturday. On Saturday, November 24th, 2018, Township will be participating in Small Business Saturday. American Express founded this special event in 2010 to help local businesses with their most pressing needs, getting more customers. For additional information on Small Business Saturday, residents and local business owners should contact Mayor's Office of Economic Development at extension 7920 or email at obedo@oldbridge.com or visit americanexpress.com. 7, Fall Lip Collection. Round 2 of the Fall Lip Collection program begins again in Ward 1 and 2 the week of November 26, Ward 3 and 4 the week of December 3rd, and Ward 5 and 6 of the week of December 10th. Please visit Township website to view or print the full schedule at oldbridge.com/recycling. Item number 8, Old Bridge Business Alliance. Alliance is a dynamic business network group which has received statewide recognition and is free for any business to join. The next Business Alliance meeting will be held on Wednesday, November 28, 2018, from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. The meeting will be a joint meeting with Chamber of Commerce and will be sponsored by Bubba's 33, 1002 Route 9 in Parlene. For additional information on local business and related opportunity, residents should contact Mayor's Office of Economic Development at extension 7920 or email obedo@oldbridge.com. Item number 9, annual Christmas tree and menorah lighting event. The township will hold annual Christmas tree and menorah lighting event on Monday, December 3rd, 2018 at 6:30 p.m. in the Old Bridge Civic Center courtyard. For additional information about the annual Christmas tree and menorah lighting event or other upcoming activity and program, residents should contact Department of Parks and Recreation at extension 4999 or visit township website at oldbridge.com. Item number 10, annual Pearl Harbor Remembrance Ceremony. On Friday, December 7, 2018, Township will be remembering Pearl Harbor with the wreath-laying ceremony at Veterans Memorial located at the Old Bridge Civic Center. The event will start at 10:30 a.m. For additional information, residents should contact Mayor's Office at extension 2040. Item number 11, affordable housing activity, community grants. Planning and Housing is reporting that 112 homeowners have expressed interest in Old Bridge Home Improvement Program. All have been invited to apply, except those determined to be ineligible during the preliminary application phase. To date, 22 homeowners have submitted formal applications. CGP&H is also reporting that applicants for affordable home for sale has increased from May 2018 by 377 for a total of 4,511 on the waiting list. They are continuing to manage the process as home becomes available. For affordable home for rent program in anticipation of availability of rental units in the future, the waiting list was open in 2017 and 4,858 applicants have already joined the rental waiting list. Number 12, Old Bridge Food Bank Holiday Collection. Anyone wishing to contribute to the food bank this holiday season can drop off donation at the Old Bridge Food Bank or the Senior Center. For additional information and or list of needs items, residents should contact Senior Center at extension 6625 or visit the township website at oldbridge.com. I want to report to you the efforts of the Senior Center, Anna, specifically on food basket with the employees, the council members, and as well as our police, both police union. We were able to raise $1,793, or about 35 baskets is being distributed. So
We got certificates for everybody.
yeah, we're going to be distributing certificate to those who participated in. That concludes my report, Council President.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shaw. Does anyone have any, council have any questions? Okay, seeing none, I'll ask, okay, I'll ask for a motion to approve it. Okay. Second for to approve it?
Second.
Okay, so Dr. Greenberg Belli and Mr. Cahill did the second.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Abstain.
Mr. Pisghetti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohorse?
Yes.
8 yes, 1 abstention.
Madam Chairperson,
Yes.
I did have one question.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, it was my fault. The affordable housing, is that still available, Hamachu, or is that a closed, what's the story there?
They continue to maintain lists. People can continue to sign up and be on the waiting list.
Not the waiting list, the first part, the
Oh, the
home
rehab
improvement.
program. No, that's still continued. People can sign up for
People can
that.
still sign up for it.
And, you know, as funds available or the eligibility, then they continue to work.
Where
on
is that, up in the planning, or,
The application is online.
okay. Very good. Thank you.
All right, everybody good? Okay. Next, we're going to our consent agenda. I'm going to ask for a motion.
Motion.
Okay, so as I was saying, we're going to go to the consent agenda now. I'm going to ask for a motion to introduce in a second. I'm going to take it out to the public, and then I'll get separations from council members.
Move it.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, moved by Mrs. Walker, second by Mr. Murphy.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
And we have to open up to the public? Yeah. No, we're going to open up to the public now. Anyone from the public wish to be heard on consent agenda items, please come forward.
We're going to finish voting?
No, we should have started.
Oh.
Bill Serra, Overage. C8, is that an emergency appropriation?
No, that's a transfer between the line, budget line.
Okay,
Under statute, we're allowed to transfer in the month of November and December between the operating budget.
Okay, you're taking 133 out of 7 different accounts. You list 6 accounts and what specific line items they're coming from, but the 7th item says salary adjustment 38,000. You don't indicate what line item that's coming.
That's the line item in the budget,
I
salary.
have a line item in the budget called salary adjustment.
Correct.
Under what department is that?
It's under the, I think it's in unclassified section.
Thank you. And you're putting 22,000 for salary and wage for code. Is that for a new hiree or is that for overtime?
We had a part-time employee in the code department that was a status change to full-time.
Thank you.
All right, anyone else from the public? Seeing no hands, I will close the public portion, and now I'll ask for separations from council. Anyone?
3, 5, and 8.
Anyone else for separations? Seeing no hands, I will ask for us to pass the balance of the consent agenda items, please.
I'll move it.
Second.
Okay, moved by Dr. Greenberg Belli, second by Mr. Murphy.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Pisghetti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Zohoor?
Yes.
9 yes.
C3, Mr. Merwin.
Yes, the contract for the award to the plumbing contractor, you list 3 of them. Magic Touch comes in at $87 an hour, and then Aero Plumbing is 1.5 times more that, at $120. And then the third one is more than double that.
Yes.
Now, we're not going to be using these guys, I hope.
I hope not. The only reason we ask that the council authorize all 3 is that in situation where, only in an emergency situation where the lowest bidder is not available, but we need to get, some of these are emergency work, so we don't want to be, not being able to handle the work at the time. So, but we hope. But I can tell you that last year in 2008, this year, we have hardly spent about $1,000 in plumbing. So I don't see a reason to go to the high cost vendor. We're always gonna try to reach the lowest cost, use the lowest cost vendor.
I would have no problem approving 2 of them, but that third one is well above, more than double what the first one is getting, and I have a problem with that.
Well, I'm okay if you, it doesn't,
I'm real, I mean, that's.
Councilman, you should know that in finance department and in this administration, we always make sure that we get the best best price.
And I'm not saying anything about the finance department. What I'm saying is this bidder is more than 2 times the lowest bidder. So I really don't even want him being considered.
Okay.
I mean, that would be up to the rest of the council, but that's my feelings on it.
A council person, I don't see problem just approving 2. That's fine. Yeah.
Okay, so.
Is there a motion to amend?
I would make a motion to amend that we take the first two plumbing contractors.
Not the third, okay. Any second for that?
Second.
Okay. Second by Dr. Greenberg? Oh, I mean, sorry, Mrs. Walker? Mrs. Walker, okay, yep.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Pisghetti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Selhor?
Yes.
9 yes.
Okay, so now that we made the amendment, we now have to make a motion to vote on it. Okay,
As amended, would eliminate the
Right.
William J. Guarini, Inc. as the tertiary.
okay, we'll move it. Moved by Mrs. Walker,
Second.
second by Mr. Merwin.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Pescetti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Selhor?
Yes,
9 yes to amend.
As amended.
as amended, correct. Okay, next is C5, Mr. Merwin.
As
That
you-
was because when I reviewed it, the person who, the proposal, did it in terms of gross. It was supposed to be in gross. He crossed it off and put net. So clearly, the other bids that came in were based on gross, so their numbers were much lower. There was only one bid that was,
Yeah, but he's not compliant, so basically
Right.
you can't award it.
That's why we're not, because he wasn't compliant. That's why we're turning.
Yeah,
it.
because he put, we wanted gross, because as you know, you tell somebody of the net, well, they can play around with that number.
Yeah.
So, and that,
Yeah, no,
just went out for rebid.
that's why I was wondering why we didn't do it.
Exactly.
I'll move it if nobody else has any other questions.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Merwin, second by Mr. Murphy.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Pescetti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Selhor?
Yes.
9 yes.
C8, Mr. Merwin.
Yes. Let me just bring this up in front of me here, and I'll. The money that's being appropriated, we have $90,000 going for snow removal for the remainder of this year.
Yes.
What happens if that money's not used for snow removal from now till the end of the year?
If it's not used before the end of the year, it'll get transferred into the snow or storm trust fund
Okay.
at the beginning of next year.
And the $22,000 that was put into code enforcement, when we passed the budget this year, I believe we budgeted for that employee that became a full-timer to be a full-timer.
No, he was only budgeted to be part-time.
But wasn't there another full-time position in there that wasn't filled?
No.
No? All right. I'll have to go back and check my budget book. I thought we had that, we had done that. And why $11,000 in the municipal court?
That was due to salary adjustments for their employees.
All right.
Anyone else?
And then 20,000 is for the new hiree that we got introduced tonight at the data and processing.
That's actually being transferred
that's
from
being-
data processing because we had budgeted for a full year for a full-time employee and he wasn't hired till, I believe, the beginning of October, end of September.
Very good, thank you. I'll move it if nobody else has any.
Okay, I just have a comment. When you mentioned dedicating the money into the snow trust fund, so the money does remain for snow removal.
Yes,
So
snow
this-
or storm. The
Right,
state changed it a
right,
couple years ago to
Right,
include all
in
storms.
years gone by before this administration, I don't believe that was done that way, but I know it has been since he's been here. So I just think it's a very good thought.
Goes into a trust.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so motion, Mr. Merwin?
Yeah, I moved it.
Okay, Mr. Merwin made the motion. Do we have a second? Mrs. Walker?
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy? Mr. Pisghetti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohor?
Yes.
9 yes.
Next is FR1, to only have one council member assigned to sit on the board of the MUA at one time.
It's only for first readings.
Right. So, do we have anyone to make a motion? Motion?
Motion.
And do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Mr. Rizzoli made the motion, and Mrs. Brown seconded the motion. Okay.
Mrs. Brown?
No.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg?
No.
Mr. Merwin?
No.
Mr. Murphy?
I was actually advised by my attorney because it said it's a conflict of interest, I have to abstain.
Mr. Pisghetti?
No.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
No.
President Sohor?
No.
2 yes, 6 no, and 1 abstention.
Okay. Next is, okay, we're good. Next is public comments on any subject matter. Mr. Come forward.
It doesn't move up, so it's at least for now.
Philip McGovern, 201 Yorkshire Court in Society Hill. I speak to people who watch the council meetings on television, and all of them don't care how many council members are on the MUA board. What they care about is that a good job is being done. They also don't care that it's called Mayor Henry's Clean Team. What they care about is getting clean streets. What they also care about is for the council to discuss senior property tax freeze. They would also like a list of unclaimed funds put on the Overage Township website. They also would want better signage in the complex. Which building, is what? There's bad signage coming in. Thank you very much, and take care.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public wish to be heard? Please come forward. Good evening.
Good evening. I'm Ray Kelly. I'm 25 Central Avenue. I sent all these videos. Hopefully you all looked at them. And John had presented a situation where he said he'd like to get together regarding the Christmas lights. I have not a problem with that, meeting with him, but when are we going to do that? His light show starts this Friday. And it is still, as you've seen in the videos, this is not made up, this is not fake news, it's reality. And this town is liable, and something needs to be done. We're willing to work with Tom, which we tried to once before. Tom didn't really want to work with us, but that's here and there. We're going to work with him now, if that's the case. We'd like John to be there, and it's somebody else from this group. The attorney, yes.
Just so you know, I've reached out to the police, and I'm going to get some firm, concrete information with their input, and also from OEM. Excuse me.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. Something does have to be done. It is a very dangerous situation over there, and that's what I tried to explain tonight. It's nice for holiday, it's nice for the neighbors, but it's just not the neighbors there. It's other people coming that's creating the problem.
Absolutely.
And you need to be safe. And so I reached out to the captain and asked for him to give me the best solution to this problem. I'll be talking to someone in OEM. I've already done that before to get some resolution to this problem because something does have to be done.
Absolutely, soon.
And so, yes, so by this weekend. And then I did speak to Mr. Abruzzi and I said, what is your solution for this? Please let us know, as soon as you can, ASAP.
I mean, there's things that can be done. I don't know if they're financially warranted by him, not by the town.
Yes.
But busting them in, I mean, you've seen the video. It's a nightmare at the bottom. I don't care what anybody said, but that came up here. They don't live there. I live there. And it was only one day out of, they said 21 days, 23, it's 29 days, so to be exact. Unfortunately, I have to think of those things.
No, everyone needs needs to feel safe and everyone
Exactly.
needs to be in peace, and that's what our goal is, and I think that's what the mayor tried to
Oh,
stress
absolutely.
through the phone calls that he got to find a solution to this. So basically, I agree, it's unfortunate, that we're at this 11th hour, but I hope that we have something,
We're
right
here
away
now,
for
is what
you.
you're saying. We
Yes.
have to deal with it today,
Today,
not tomorrow.
yes. And that's why I reached out to the captain and the person from, public safety, and we're gonna get some help over there, to do it.
Just an FYI to yourself. Years ago, when Tom first started this, for 8 or 10, 12 years, before he went on ABC, Christmas fight, whatever it was, nobody ever complained. They would pull in my driveway, other people's driveway, and leave. Now he was on a CBS News, by the way, John, that's where he stated, Chris said, anywhere from 300 to a few thousand people a night. And also, I think it's 169.1 is the ordinance. In there it says the anticipation of 1,000. It doesn't say 1,000 being there at one time. That's not true, because you would have that issue with any type of bazaar or carnival you had. It would be the same thing. There's not 10,000 people there at one time. There might be 500 today. There might be 600 an hour, whatever. And it's not the residents. It's the people that come from the outside. I mean, you got people coming in from New York, Pennsylvania, Connecticut. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. We never complained about it until the last 3 years. I mean, what he's done so far is he put a fire pit at the end of his driveway, and now we got a 28-minute video. Another gift.
Right. Well,
So you got people standing in the street. You got to worry about the people that are coming there. They're another problem in itself. It's a separate entity.
exactly.
Their lives are just as important as my life. And somebody had stated that it takes, it's only 30-second difference. It's not. If you go 5 miles an hour for an hour, if you do the numbers, it's 12 minutes a mile. That's what it is. If it's a quarter mile from the corner house on Brookside to my house, is a little over a quarter mile. If you're doing a quarter mile, it takes you 30 seconds at 25 miles an hour. That's what an ambulance would go at, probably 30 or 35 miles an hour. And if you're going 5 miles an hour, it takes 2 minutes and 24 seconds. Do the math, and that is correct. That's what it takes. So 2 minutes and 24 seconds on somebody's life is unattainable. You can't just ignore that.
No, and I don't want to ignore it, and I don't think anyone does. And
Oh, I
it's-
don't think you
and
do.
No, and
I'm glad it's here.
And
I have to tell you.
It's just unfortunate that that house is on a unique street.
Yeah,
If it was in
exactly.
a regular neighborhood, people could just drive by. There would be sidewalks. This is a dangerous situation, and it can't be ignored. And it's very frustrating. And granted, as far as going on for 3 years, the mayor says, many of the people that were here didn't come and complain about it, but he fields complaints all the time.
Oh, absolutely.
He's very
I'm
frustrated.
one of them that
He
calls
lives
him.
there.
I'm
He
one of them.
obviously didn't want to resort to residential parking, but yeah, sooner than later, and now it's Monday before Thanksgiving, we have to get a
Because of that
solution.
resolution, that ordinance, we're here talking about it now, because prior to that, we would have never talked about this, ever.
Exactly.
So for us, I didn't want a permit parking myself personally.
Of
It doesn't
course.
work. Nobody wants it. But something needs to be done. That's all I have to say. Thank you very much. Everybody have a nice,
Thank you. Have a
wonderful
nice
Thanksgiving.
Ray?
Thank you. Next,
What
okay.
do you see talk, though? Listen, I read the same ordinance you did. I had to ask the mayor about it. He says, John, it's mass assembly. It means at one time. He does not for the whole day.
All right.
Well, you have
John.
two.
Ask the
you have-
attorney. I'm not
You
an
have two
attorney.
attorneys on the
I read
same firm. Let them argue it out.
Okay.
Told you.
All right, thank you very much.
Have
A-
a-
Madam
Anyone
Chair-
else from the
Madam
public?
Chairperson.
Wait, let's do the people in the audience, okay?
It's in reference to Mr. Kelly's comments. I would respectfully request that the Public Safety Director direct the police department to meet with the fire official out there.
We've been doing it for a number of years now, Mr. Merwin.
What's
And the
that?
reason we've been doing it for a number of years, we've had meetings. Last year was uncontrollable. And the remedy police came up with was no parking. No parking.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to do.
It was a poor remedy, so.
Okay, you give me your remedy.
That's why I did, and
What?
I think the fire official has a few, that if the police department and the fire official sit down, we can come to an amicable solution to this problem.
What's your amicable, so give me your remedy. Give me one.
That's what I'm saying, sit with the fire department. Oh, I
parking.
told you, open up Old Sunset. Allow only one-way traffic to go out.
When you make comments like that, Mr. Merwin, it just shows
Go ahead. What does it show, Mayor?
It
Go ahead,
shows
say
that,
it.
you should know that why those roads were closed. You should know it.
Those streets are open all day long, Mayor. They only close them at 5 o'clock.
And why is that?
Because of there's no reason that it can't be open until 10 o'clock.
It was
Wait,
a law or request by Homeland Security. No, you don't want to hear the answer.
Yeah, come on.
You
Shows
have
your
to
lack of
listen to
knowledge.
each other. That's the, no, but
Council,
see,
if the rest of the council want to hear why the road is closed, okay, it's a decision that was made by Homeland Security because there's critical infrastructure back there, and that property is not ours. It's owned by Saraville right now. And my discussion with Saraville was, well, let us think about it. No, they're not opening that road at night because the road is not fit to be driven on. It's not fit to be walked on, and they're not going to take the liability. And I don't think they get the permission from Homeland Security to open that gate at night. And that's the same thing with the loop. The loop, Mr. Murphy, you should know it because you work for the LBMUA. And you know why those gates were put up at the end of West. And said, well, then you lack knowledge also.
all right.
Okay, so I'm just saying why you're coming up with your remedy, but that would, don't you think we looked at everything? You think we're just going to sit here and pull this out of a hat?
Okay.
Never
All right.
mind.
Let's move.
Okay. All right. We're done with our council comments? Okay. All right. Yeah, no. Public was cold. No. No, 1 minute. I'm just saying, they're gonna, 1 minute. You want to speak, ma'am? Come up.
I live on Central Avenue in the middle of all this stuff. I think you need the input from the neighbors that are there that deal with it every day and have people come together and have us come up with a solution. We've come up with some ideas, like putting a rope down the one side where there's only 3 homes, asking those neighbors if we have permission to put up a rope, have people like put into an area and herded in a certain way. According to the Pruzis, they were told no. They came up with a solution of giving out a glow stick to everybody that comes so that at least people can light up their way, because the problem is you can't see them. It's dark, there's no sidewalks. The parking part, I don't know what we're going to do about that. Keeping the cars out of there, that's something the township's going to have to deal with. Trying to figure out a way to get those cars from not coming up Brookside. You can't go through Sunset, that's, you know, it's a dead end. Homeland Security closed that years ago. Nobody can go through those roads. We can't get through them. They closed the end of our block. They've closed everything off. I know people fly into my driveway. My husband almost got run over because he can't see. Somebody came flying in and then flying out. It's dangerous. So somebody has to come up with a solution. As a neighbor there, I'm willing to be on a committee to help with the other people around there to come up with a solution and something that the township will allow us to do. I mean, you talk about talking to the police and the fire. They don't really know what's going on there. They're not there every day. We are. So I think you need the people, I know they can put their input in, but the fire department's helping him put the lights on the house. They were there all day Sunday putting the lights on the house. That's, you know, there's a little bit of bias on that end too. And we need help as the residents. So that's all I can say is thank you. Thank you. Have a nice, happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you very much. Anyone else from the public?
Alan Rosencrantz, David Drive. Just a comment on the next discussion item, I think John Murphy put it on, was that the name of whatever organization, it should not be Mayor Henry's Clean Team or Economic Development. This should be a discussion and not adversarial. It just seems that there's a lot of adversarial issues coming up over here. You're supposed to represent the town and be a representative of the town, and just exactly how do you represent the town when you want to take a name off for the mayor, take the name off of an organization or a community event? He's the face of the town. People know who he is, where he is, how to contact him, and he's put a lot of time and effort into this. And for you just to say his name should be removed, it doesn't benefit the town in any way, shape, or form. It's just a personal agenda that is very apparent that you have. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public wish to be heard? Seeing no hands, we close the public portion of the meeting. And we have the discussion items. First one is D1, to have all signage and programs be called Old Bridge, not Mayor. Mr. Murphy.
Yes, I brought this up last meeting for a reason. I didn't realize until the mayor told me it was paid by the public for that. And what's worse is it was paid by grant money. I thought council had to approve all grant money. Did I miss something? I missed a lot where they approved that with a grant this year. This year? The economic development came up this year. Well, I just feel, I don't think it's illegal. It's probably unethical. You're going to be running for mayor. You're campaigning, basically, but you are. I don't want to talk politics. I'm not a politician, but you're putting a sign up. It should be Old Bridge Township's clean team. It should be Old Bridge Township's, okay, laugh at me. You know what? Forget it. You know, let the mayor do whatever he wants. I don't care. In fact, the people, one thing they didn't say tonight, they asked me, is it going to be called the mayor's Central Avenue parking?
No.
That's what they asked. And I was glad that they didn't bring it up, but I did.
Okay.
And the people are fed up with his name all over the place. That's what a lot of this was about tonight. I speak to these people a lot.
All right. That's your opinion, and now you've given your opinion. Is there anyone else that wants to give an opinion before we close this?
Yes, I'd like to.
Okay, Mr. Cahill.
Yeah, again, this is a solution in search of a problem. Mayor Henry, I mean, goes to cleanups in his suit. I mean, he is the face of this town, and I think it's great that he has his name associated with it because, quite frankly, he's the one who drives it. So, kudos to you, Mayor Henry. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for a comment on this item? Okay, next item is...
Council President?
Yeah.
I'd like to make a comment. I don't know. You know, Mayor Henry's clean team, we all know the history of the Mayor Henry's clean team. I didn't name it. It was you, it was Ms. Walker. We went to the previous communities coordinator and told her we wanted to clean this town. That was Debbie Depew. And she was so impressed that my administration, Mayor Henry, wasn't going to misuse that grant money again. We weren't going to buy tires for trucks that didn't need tires. We weren't going to buy parts and put them on the shelf and pay some people to go around town and come back with a half a bag of garbage at the end of the day. What we were going to do, and Debbie sat in my office, we came up with goals and objectives. One was to make it county-wide. One was to make it credible. One was to involve as many people as we possibly could. And I have statistics of how many groups, just this year alone, over 50 groups participated and were given grant money to put back into our community. Okay, and as Mr. Cahill said, I've ruined 3 suits picking up garbage on the side of the road. And I ask that this council stay professional tonight. Don't lower yourselves to be politicians. I am the face of the town. I travel all over the state, all over the country at times, and it's Mayor Henry. And that comes with this seat. And I need to protect this seat for me or the next mayor of this town. The next mayor should be able to put his name on anything that he wants to put it on if he feels it's a credible program. And that was one of the objectives, was to make this a program credible. The Mayor's Office of Economic Development. We heard comments about a warehouse that was brought to town through the Mayor's Office of Economic Development. That was a lot of work. And it comes from the Mayor's office. It doesn't come from Public Works. It was from the Mayor's office. And for you, Mr. Murphy, it's really, I don't know where you're coming, why. It has to be political. Does somebody tell you this?
Listen,
what's going on?
I'm going to say something right now. This whole everything going as political, from the audience to here.
Not me, no. I don't
okay,
play
yeah,
politics,
okay, you're not a
and you know
politician.
that.
I understand
Not
that.
one resident in the last 7
Okay, listen,
years.
what you said about Mrs. Walker and Mrs. Greenberg, and they're probably not going to agree with this, but while I was campaigning out there, your truck, and I will take any kind of test to prove that I'm telling the truth, that they were livid. They said, oh, look at him. That was our idea, and he stole it from us. I'll tell you where I was. I was on Marlboro Road, and your truck came down there. And are you going to disagree you didn't do that? Then you're both
Dr.
lying.
Greenberg was not on the council. She was not here.
Clean
Yeah,
team
no.
came about, and I just would like to say, is this really what's important? We have to do the
No, no, no. He took a shot at me here. Once again, he's taking a shot at me. Just like he took a shot at me.
Who brought up this discussion item? I didn't.
You did.
And I let it go. I'm not going to make a motion or anything. Of course, I know it's not going to pass because nobody else cares. I'm an Overage person. The town is going in the wrong way to begin with, and I want to turn it around. That's the only reason I ran. And I do get out of hand, but it's because the passion I have for the town.
John,
I'm sorry.
We are out, though. What's happening now is we're running out of time because we only have until a certain time, and we have an executive session. So if anyone else has any comments on this item, please now. If not.
I would like to say one thing about this clean team. The mayor did the work for this to bring it on the forefront. He gave a class on it at the League of Municipalities, and I'll tell you a personal incident. My cousin came from Bridgewater and said, oh, we just have this new program in our town. They give grants for this. Our mayor went to League of Municipality, and guess what? He got it from your mayor. He went to that class. So I don't know whether politics, leave it out. When you run for mayor, you want to be mayor, it could be the Mayor Murphy clean team. But right now, it's the Mayor Henry clean team, whatever, and I don't think it's a big deal. It was also explained last time by the attorney. You look on the roads all the time. When Governor Christie was here, they went to signs. Governor Murphy's here now, the same sign. So you could even say the state wastes a lot of money changing signs. When Obama did his shovel in the ground thing, there was all Obama signs down. Is this really what's important at this hour to talk about this stuff when we have things we have to do in the town? I think public safety is much more important and other things that we have to think about, and I would not like to waste one more time on it, but I just had to tell a personal story that the mayor did give a class to this and stood at a booth at the League of Municipalities, stood at a booth telling people about this program. I don't think anyone else did, so whatever name it is, I'm glad we have it because the residents are happy we have it. It has made a difference in this town, and it's helped every organization in this town that decides to do a clean team. So that's all I have to say, and I hope it ends with that. Thank you.
Yes. Back when I first got elected 7 years ago, myself and Mary sat down with the DEN coordinator, Debbie Depew, and we found that the grant money was being wasted. And we discussed it about what we could do with the grant money. We came with the clean team. We met with Owen. I called him up, and we ordered our first supplies, and that's how it got started. And he has given a class at the League of Municipalities, and this is political. And I think if you want to say how bad the town is, you should have been at the council 8 years ago when the town was heavily in debt. There was no money. There was no capital improvements being done. This town is in fantastic shape right now.
Anyone else for comments?
Yeah, I have to just say something. I am not against the clean team at all. I just had the problem with it being called, you're making it sound like I wasn't for that. I think they're doing a great job. I would not disagree with that. And you can't speak about 8 years ago and stuff. I don't want to go back that far. I want to speak about the present. I want to make this council work together and get rid of politics from the council and the public. I want to work together. Okay, laugh at me. Stay political.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. Okay, we're good now. Everyone made their comments, correct? Okay. So the next item is also, it's D2, which is making the first meeting of the month an agenda meeting, workshop, just to discuss all items workshop. Second meeting of the month, a regular meeting where items are voted on. Months that have one meeting will remain as a combined meeting. Mr. Murphy. Yes.
I kind of agree when Mr. Cahill said we should have 2 meetings every single month. We should have 2 meetings every single month. If we can't make it, we're on vacation, which did happen to me one time. I'm not going to go through that. But I understand there's 2 months that you cannot have a meeting. But I would like to make, I'm not going to say anything. I think that we should have a budget workshop meeting first, like they used to do, and then 2 weeks later have a voting meeting. Now, that's not to say that business cannot be conducted at a workshop meeting. You can conduct business. You can pay bills. If things come up, that's what you do. I would like to see the first meeting a workshop meeting and the second meeting a regular meeting. That's all I wanted to talk about on that. And of course, when there's one meeting in a month, yeah, you have a combined meeting.
Just for clarity, Mr. Murphy, are you talking about a budget workshop or an agenda meeting?
No, I said budget.
Budget workshop.
Oh,
I
okay.
just want to be
It's a
clear.
workshop. We discuss everything. You have the meeting to discuss it's like an agenda meeting. That's basically what I want to have. I want to have an agenda meeting. That's going to be the longer meeting. You talk about everything on the agenda, and then at the next meeting, you just vote. Now, the problem I'm hearing from some of the people on the council is they want to be able to pay the bills. You can pay the bills at any meeting. You can pay it at both meetings. You can discuss other business when necessary. You just have to go through the council with it. You can't just, bring things up to the regular meeting. That's what I want to do.
Anyone else wish to enter into this discussion?
Sure,
Mr.
I'll
Cahill?
enter into the discussion. I think it's a solution in search of a problem. I don't understand why we would need to do a agenda meeting. We have ample opportunity up here as council members to discuss any item. In fact, we even had a lengthy discussion at the beginning of this council's term about even discussing stuff at first reading if it's so warranted. So there's ample opportunity to discuss things. We get the agenda, Friday afternoon. We have plenty of opportunity to call the administration if there's issues. I think it's a colossal waste of time to have an agenda meeting and a regular meeting. We should just keep it the way it is. We voted on the calendar and just leave it be. That's my opinion.
All right, thank you. Anyone else on this side of the dais? How about Mrs. Walker?
I don't see the point of it, because now you're going to have an agenda meeting. You're going to wait 2 weeks before you vote on the things. We have plenty of time, like Mr. Cahill said, to digest the information we're given on Friday. It's been done for years. No one has ever had a problem with it before. And if you want to go down the road where you want to have an agenda meeting and then a business meeting, you're going to have to go back to what they did years ago, and you had 4 meetings a month. That's why I just don't understand the reasoning. If you could do your due diligence and get your work done, which you should be able to, there is no reason to change the things the way they are. Leave them the way they are.
Anyone else? Okay, I'll just add the final comments. As far as doing it that way, I think what we've done this year, because we do have 5 new council members, is allow for discussion at the first reading, like Mr. Cahill said. We're trying to give them an opportunity. It does take some time to get used to things and, questions, and that's fine. So I think we've opened up every avenue that we could to try to, accommodate people. I don't think that having 1 and 1 either works. I just don't see it working. So that's my opinion, and I do think we're trying to let everybody speak and answer everybody's questions. Okay. Next is D3, which is CY 2018 SFY 2019 NJDCA Best Practices Inventory. Good evening, Ms. Swoboda.
Just to introduce that, this is an annual requirement by the state that is subject to the grant. In my administrative report, I reported that we scored 92%. We're not losing any funds. If the council has, Dawn has extensively worked on these things, and she can answer any question council member may have. But the clerks and myself as a CFO, we require to certify the state that this was discussed at the council meeting.
Thank you. As Mr. Shaw stated, annually the state comes out usually in the fall with the best practices inventory, and this year's inventory had an expanded policy focus while continuing to emphasize, statutory compliance and also core competencies. Luckily, this year they increased the questions. Last year it was only 25. And was very rigid. It's now 61 questions. We needed to answer at least 46 yes, prospective, or not applicable in order to get our full state aid payment in December. We had a meeting a couple weeks ago with all department heads, because if you take a look at it, it's not just a finance thing, it's overall administration, management, all the departments, planning, police, public works, everybody. So we scored 56 out of 61, or 92%, so we'll be getting our full state aid payment And the inventory was attached, so if anybody has any questions.
Good job.
Thank you very much,
Great.
Dawn.
Good job.
Yep, thank you for the hard work. Yep, okay. All right, next, we will be going into executive session. Okay, go ahead.
Be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Old Bridge that the public shall be excluded from this meeting pursuant to NJSA 10:4-13 for attorney-client privilege matters and contract negotiations for the discussion of the following matter or matters. It's a litigation matter. Be it further resolved that this meeting shall reconvene in public session upon conclusion of the discussions, and that the minutes or the record of these discussions shall become available to be disclosed to the public when the need for its exclusion from the public no longer exists as determined by the vote of the governing body at a public session. Motion?
Motion?
Motion, I move it.
Second.
Okay, moved by Dr. Greenberg, Belli, second by Mr. Rizzoli.
Mrs. Brown?
Off days.
Okay. Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Off those.
Mr. Pisghetti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Selhor?
Yes.
7 yes.
So there's a motion on the table to approve the settlement in the Levine versus Old Bridge Township.
Do I have a motion?
Motion. Second.
Okay, motion by Mr. Rizzoli, second by Mr. Pisghetti.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Pisghetti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Selhor?
Yes.
6 yes.
Very good.
Council member comments.
Now there's a motion to adjourn.
Do we have council member comments?
What?
No comments?
If you'd like comments.
You want to do a comment? Okay. Council comments, Mr. Pisghetti.
Thank you. I just wanted to acknowledge the clerk's office, another election. They did a fantastic job, as usual. No hiccups, seemed to go very, very smoothly. So congratulations to Stella and her crew. And happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Thanksgiving is a time to reflect on things that we are all thankful for. As we celebrate our families, let's remember those who have lost family members and those who don't have a family to celebrate with. Thank you. Good night.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Seeing no hands, I will ask for a motion to adjourn. Okay, motion to adjourn. Mr. Rizzoli and Dr. Greenberg, Belli.
Mr. Cahill? Yes. Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Pisghetti? Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Selhor?
Yes, happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Have a good
Be
night.
safe. Enjoy.